The graduation gown made him look distinguished, important, like the doctor he'd always dreamed of becoming. Marcus stood with his classmates at Johns Hopkins Medical School, radiating the confidence that comes from achieving everything you've ever wanted. I sat in the audience, exhausted from my night shift at the hospital, wearing the same dress I'd worn to every milestone because new clothes weren't in our budget, my budget, really, since I'd paid for everything. 8 years, 3 degree programs, hundreds of thousands of dollars, all leading to this moment when my husband would finally become Dr. Marcus Chen. I should have known something was wrong when he'd insisted I sit with the general audience instead of the family section. It's just easier with the seating arrangements, he'd said. I should have noticed how he avoided my eyes all morning, how his mother kept smirking at me, how there was an empty seat next to him that wasn't for me. My name is Jessica Liu, and I'm about to tell you how the man I sacrificed everything for served me divorce papers at his medical school graduation, and how I destroyed his future with a single email to the dean. We met in college, both pre-med students with big dreams. Marcus was brilliant, charismatic, came from a family of doctors who expected nothing less than perfection. I was smart too, top of our organic chemistry class, but I was also practical. I knew medical school was expensive. I knew someone had to pay the bills. We're a team, Marcus said when he proposed senior year. I'll go to med school first, then when I'm established, you can go back. We'll take turns supporting each other. It sounded romantic, partnership, sacrifice, building a future together. I was 22 and in love with a man who drew anatomical hearts on napkins and promised we'd save lives together someday. I got accepted to 3 medical schools. Marcus got accepted to Johns Hopkins. The choice seemed obvious. Hopkins was the dream. We'd move to Baltimore. He'd become the doctor he was meant to be, and I'd work until it was my turn. Just a few years, he promised as I declined my acceptances. Then Dr. Chen will support soon-to-be Dr. Liu. The first year was hard but manageable. I worked as a medical scribe during the day and picked up shifts at a restaurant at night. We lived in a tiny apartment where the radiator clanged and the neighbors fought, but we were happy. Marcus would study at the kitchen table while I brought him coffee and quizzed him on pathophysiology. I couldn't do this without you, he'd say, kissing my forehead, my lucky charm. By year 2, the restaurant wasn't enough. Marcus needed better equipment, more expensive textbooks, board exam prep courses. I got my EMT certification and started working ambulance shifts, better pay, flexible hours, and I was still in medicine, sort of. This is perfect, Marcus said. You're getting clinical experience. It'll make you a better doctor when it's your turn. My turn, always dangling in front of me like a carrot on a stick. Year 3 brought clinical rotations and new expenses, white coats, stethoscopes, specialty equipment. Marcus's mother started visiting, criticizing our apartment, my cooking, my appearance. Marcus needs to focus, she'd say. A future surgeon can't be distracted by domestic issues. I worked more shifts. 16-hour days became normal. I'd come home to find Marcus studying with classmates, beautiful, polished women who looked at me with pity. The EMT supporting her husband through med school. How quaint. Jessica's amazing, Marcus would say, but it sounded like an apology. By year 4, I rarely saw him. Surgery rotation, he explained. The hours were brutal. He'd sleep at the hospital, shower in the call rooms. I'd pack meals he'd forget to eat, wash scrubs that smelled like other women's perfume, pay bills for credit cards with charges I didn't recognize. Trust me, he'd say when I asked questions. Everything I do is for our future. Then came the match process for residency. Marcus was applying to the most competitive surgery programs in the country. The applications were expensive, thousands of dollars in fees, travel for interviews, new suits that cost more than our rent. I need to look the part, he explained, modeling a $3,000 suit. Image matters in surgery. I picked up overnight shifts, worked holidays, sold plasma twice a week. My body was breaking down, chronic back pain from lifting patients, migraines from exhaustion, stress fractures in my feet from never sitting down, but it would be worth it when he matched at a top program, when we could finally start our real life. Match day arrived. Marcus opened his envelope surrounded by his classmates, his mother, and notably, not me. I was working a double shift to pay for his celebration dinner. Massachusetts General, he texted me. Boston, baby, we're moving up. I cried in the ambulance bathroom. Happy tears. I told myself, we'd done it. 8 years of sacrifice had paid off. But something changed after match day. Marcus became distant, critical. Suddenly my EMT job was embarrassing. My appearance was letting myself go. My questions about when I'd apply to medical school were pressure he didn't need. "You don't understand the stress I'm under," he'd snap. "Preparing for residency at MGH is intense. I need to focus." I found the dating app by accident, looking for his insurance card in his wallet. Tinder, profile active. Future surgeon at Mass Gen looking for someone who matches my ambition. When I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. "I'm networking," he said coldly, "making connections. You wouldn't understand, you're not in medicine." "I gave up medicine for you." "No one asked you to," he said, and my heart shattered. "That was your choice." I started documenting everything after that. The credit card statements showing jewelry purchases I never received. The study sessions that were clearly dates. The loans in my name I'd never authorized. 8 years of financial abuse laid out in spreadsheets and bank statements. But the real discovery came when I was organizing his residency paperwork. A scholarship application caught my eye, the Henderson need-based scholarship he'd received for all 4 years, $50,000 annually for students from low-income families. The problem? Marcus's family wasn't low-income. His parents were both physicians with a combined income well over $500,000. He'd submitted falsified tax documents, claimed to be independent, used our actual poverty to qualify while his parents bought vacation homes. I photographed everything, every forged document, every false claim, every lie he'd told to steal money meant for students who actually needed it. Graduation day arrived with all the pomp and ceremony an institution like Hopkins could muster. I sat in the audience, watching the man I'd supported for 8 years prepare to walk across that stage. His mother sat in the family section, along with a young woman I recognized from his Tinder matches, Dr. Melissa Park, a radiology resident at Mass General. Dean Williams took the podium for opening remarks. My phone buzzed with his reply to my email, "Received and under review. Thank you for bringing this to our attention." Marcus found me during the processional, pulling me aside behind the auditorium. My heart leaped. Maybe he'd realized what we'd built together, what he was throwing away. Instead, he handed me an envelope. "Jessica, this is for the best. You're a good person, but I need someone who understands my world, someone on my level. Melissa has connections at Mass General. Her father is chief of surgery. You get it, right?" I opened the envelope. Divorce papers, filed a month ago. He'd been planning this, timing it for after graduation when he no longer needed my support. 8 years, I whispered. "I gave you everything, and I'm grateful," he said, already walking away. "I left you the apartment. The lease is paid through next month. That should give you time to figure things out." He rejoined his classmates as the ceremony began. I stood there holding divorce papers while hundreds of families celebrated. 8 years of my life reduced to a lease extension and a pat on the head. But I still had my phone, still had the dean's number, still had one more email to send. The ceremony progressed with speeches about integrity, compassion, and the sacred trust of medicine. Marcus walked across the stage to receive his diploma, his future shining bright. Mass General, surgery residency, Dr. Melissa Park, everything he'd ever wanted. Then Dean Williams returned to the podium, his expression grave. "Before we conclude," he announced, "I must address a serious matter that has just come to our attention. It appears we have a situation involving scholarship fraud that requires immediate investigation." The auditorium buzzed with whispers. Marcus's face went pale. "Will Marcus Chen please remain after the ceremony? Campus security will escort you to the administration office. Your diploma is hereby held pending investigation into falsified financial aid documents." The silence was deafening. Every eye turned to Marcus, frozen on stage with his worthless diploma holder. His mother stood, shouting about lawyers and misunderstandings. Melissa quietly slipped out of her row and disappeared. I didn't stay to watch security escort him away. I'd seen enough. The investigation was thorough and damning. Marcus had stolen $200,000 in need-based aid while his parents lived in a mansion. He'd forged my signature on loan documents. He'd used our tax returns, showing only my EMT income, to paint a picture of poverty while hiding his family's wealth. Johns Hopkins revoked his degree 2 weeks before residency started. Mass General withdrew their offer. The medical board opened an ethics investigation that would likely prevent him from ever practicing medicine. His parents were investigated for tax fraud. Melissa blocked his number and started dating and attending. Marcus called me from his parents' house, sobbing, "You destroyed my life. How could you do this to me?" "I didn't do anything to you," I said calmly. "I just told the truth about what you did to yourself. And to me. And to every actually poor student who couldn't go to Hopkins because you stole their spot. I'll be nothing without medicine." "I was nothing to you with it," I replied. "At least now we're even." The divorce was finalized quickly. No assets to split, I'd spent everything supporting him. No alimony, hard to pay when you're unemployable. Just freedom from a man who'd used me as a stepping stone to a future he'd now never have. I kept working as an EMT but started taking prerequisites again. At 31, I was finally applying to medical school. My personal statement wrote itself. 8 years later, why medicine still calls to me. I got accepted to 3 schools. I chose the one that offered the most need-based aid I actually qualified for. Living on an EMT's salary, the orientation was surreal, sitting with classmates a decade younger, but all excited about the same dream. What made you wait so long? A young woman asked me. I put someone else's dreams first, I said, but dreams don't have expiration dates. She nodded wisely, too young to really understand but trying to be supportive. My clinical rotations were different from Marcus's. My EMT experience meant I could start IVs on the first try, calm panicked patients, handle emergencies without freezing. Attendings noticed, "You have real experience," they'd say. It shows. I matched at a community hospital in an underserved area, not prestigious, but exactly where I wanted to be. Real medicine for real people who needed it. The last I heard, Marcus was working at his father's practice as an office manager, not a doctor, just scheduling appointments and filing insurance claims. His mother tells people he's taking a break from medicine. His father looks through him like he's furniture. Sometimes I wonder if he thinks about those nights in our tiny apartment, when I'd quiz him on pharmacology while cooking dinner on a hot plate, when we were poor but partners, struggling but together, when he promised we'd take turns. But then I remember him handing me divorce papers in a cap and gown I'd paid for, telling me I wasn't on his level. I remember 8 years of exhaustion, sacrifice, and broken promises. I remember choosing him over myself again and again until there was nothing left of my dreams but ashes. My name is Dr. Jessica Liu. It took me 12 years instead of 4, but I made it. The white coat hanging in my office was bought with my own money, earned with my own grades, celebrated by people who actually love me. Marcus thought he was trading up at his graduation, serving divorce papers to the woman who'd carried him through medical school. He said I wasn't on his level. He was right. I was beneath him for 8 years, holding him up. Now he's exactly where he put himself, nowhere. And I'm exactly where I always belonged, in medicine, healing people, living the dream I deferred but never abandoned. Turns out dreams don't need permission to come true. They just need someone who refuses to give up on them, even when everyone else gives up on you. Especially then.
The sound of laughter and clinking champagne glasses fills my sister's sunlit living room as I rest my hand on my swollen belly, soaking in what should be the happiest day of my life. Pink and blue balloons dance against the ceiling while my best friend Paige arranges pristine white roses in a crystal vase, shooting me one of her trademark winks. Only you would have flowers color-coordinated with your dress at your own baby shower, she teases. I smooth the fabric of my cream-colored maternity dress, the one Beau said made me look radiant last week. What can I say? Some of us like everything just so. The front door opens and my heart does that familiar flutter when my husband walks in. Even after 3 years of marriage, Beau still takes my breath away, all 6 feet of corporate swagger in his tailored suit. But something's off in his expression, a tightness around his eyes I've never seen before. Jillian. His voice carries across the room, silencing conversations mid-sentence. We need to talk. The way he says my name sends ice through my veins. Behind him, a woman I've never seen before steps into view. She's wearing a fitted red dress that hugs every curve, and her hand rests possessively on Beau's arm. My sister Serenity appears at my side, her fingers digging into my shoulder. What's going on? The room has gone deadly quiet. I can hear my own heartbeat thundering in my ears as Beau walks toward me, his expensive shoes clicking against the hardwood. The woman in red follows, her stilettos leaving tiny divots in my sister's pristine floors. I'm sorry it has to be this way, Beau says, but his voice holds no warmth. Ruby and I have been seeing each other for 8 months. She's pregnant too. 12 weeks. The words hit me like physical blows. My vision blurs at the edges as I struggle to process what he's saying. The baby inside me kicks, as if sensing my distress. You're lying, I whisper, but even as the words leave my mouth, I see the truth written across his face. All those late nights at the office, the mysterious texts he'd shield from view, the sudden business trips. I've already moved my things out, he continues, pulling an envelope from his jacket. These are divorce papers. My lawyer will be in touch about custody arrangements once the babies are born. The envelope lands in my lap like a bomb. Around me, guests are frozen in various states of shock. My mother's hand pressed against her mouth, Paige's face flushed with fury, Serenity trembling beside me. Ruby, this woman wearing my husband's ring on her finger, has the audacity to smile. We thought it was best to be honest, given the circumstances. No point dragging things out. My fingers close around the envelope, crumpling its crisp edges. Honest? My voice comes out stronger than I expect. You call ambushing me at my baby shower honest? It's better this way, Bo says flatly. Clean break, no messy scenes. A laugh bubbles up from my chest, sharp and bitter as broken glass. No messy scenes? You're destroying my life in front of everyone I love, and you're worried about scenes? He has the grace to look uncomfortable, but Ruby just tosses her perfectly styled hair. Come on, baby. We've said what we came to say. Baby, the pet name I whispered against his skin countless nights. The endearment he'd murmur while stroking my growing belly. All of it. Lies. Wait. I struggle to stand, my 7 months pregnant body betraying me. Serenity steadies me as I face the man I thought would grow old with me. Why like this? Why here? Bo's mask slips for just a moment, revealing something ugly underneath. Because you always have to have everything perfect, don't you, Jillian? Your perfect house, your perfect marriage, your perfect little life. I wanted you to see that nothing's perfect. Not anymore. He turns and walks out, Ruby clinging to his arm like a trophy. The door closes behind them with a quiet click that echoes through the silent room. I stand there, divorce papers crushed in my fist, as my carefully constructed world crumbles around me. Someone sobs. Maybe my mother, maybe me. I can't tell anymore. Paige appears in front of me, her face fierce with protective rage. I'll kill him. I swear to God, but I'm not listening. My eyes are fixed on a detail I noticed in those few seconds when Bo's mask slipped. Something in the way he smiled when he delivered that final blow. This wasn't just about leaving me for another woman. This was punishment. And as my baby kicks again, strong and insistent, I make a silent promise to both of us. If Bo wants to play games, he's about to learn that perfect little Jillian knows how to play dirty too. The silence in our bedroom, my bedroom now, feels like another presence. I've been staring at the ceiling for hours, watching shadows crawl across the walls as dawn approaches. My hand traces absent patterns over my belly while the other clutches my phone, thumb hovering over Bo's contact photo. The one where he's laughing at something I said. Love shining in his eyes. Was any of it real? A soft knock breaks my trance. Jilly? Serenity's voice carries through the door. I brought breakfast. I'm not hungry. The words come out raspy from crying. She enters anyway, because that's what sisters do. The smell of coffee, decaf, because she remembers everything, fills the room as she sets a tray on the nightstand. You need to eat. She perches on the edge of the bed. The baby needs you to eat. The baby. My hand presses harder against my stomach. I can't keep anything down. Try. She hands me a piece of dry toast. And then we need to talk about the papers Bo left. Just hearing his name makes bile rise in my throat. I force myself to take a bite anyway, the toast turning to ash in my mouth. There's nothing to talk about. He's made his choice. Serenity's eyes narrow. This isn't about choices anymore. This is about protecting yourself and your child. She pulls out her tablet. I've been doing some digging. What do you mean? Remember last month when you mentioned Bo was acting weird about the joint account? I had a feeling. She taps the screen a few times, then turns it toward me. Look at the transfer history. Numbers swim before my eyes, but then patterns emerge. Large sums moving between accounts I've never seen before, all in the weeks leading up to yesterday. He's been moving money, I whisper. But why would he? My phone buzzes, cutting me off. A text from an unknown number. Check the safe in his office. Code is Ruby's birthday. Signed to U17. You're not the only one he's screwing over. Who's that? Serenity leans over. I don't know. I'm already pushing myself up, ignoring the wave of dizziness. But I need to get to that safe before Bo does. You can barely stand. Help me or don't, but I'm going. 20 minutes later, we're in Bo's home office. Everything looks exactly as it did 2 days ago when he kissed me goodbye. The same expensive leather chair, the same pretentious modern art he loves. But now it all feels tainted. My hands shake as I input the code. 0317. The safe clicks open. That bastard. Serenity breathes. Inside are stacks of documents, bank statements, contracts, USB drives. But what catches my eye is a folder labeled More Family Trust. His father's company, I murmur, flipping through pages. These are transfer records, stock certificates. My breath catches. Oh my God. What? He's been embezzling from his own family's company. Millions. I keep reading, horror mounting. And he set it up to look like I'm involved. Serenity grabs the papers. How? My signature. He must have forged it. The room spins as implications hit me. That's why he did it at the baby shower. He wanted witnesses to our falling out. He's setting me up to take the fall. We need a lawyer, now. But I'm not listening. Another document has caught my eye. A prenuptial agreement I never signed. Only this version bears my signature, dated 3 years ago. He's been planning this for years, I whisper. Everything, the marriage, the baby, it was all just cover for his scheme. Fury rises in my chest, hot and clarifying. The fog of grief burns away, replaced by something harder. Colder. My phone buzzes again. Same unknown number. Board meeting next Thursday. Stephen Moore presents quarterly findings. Bo plans to blame everything on you. TikTok. I look up at Serenity, and something in my expression makes her step back. Jilly? Call Paige, I say, gathering the documents. Tell her to bring every scrap of information she can find about Ruby, and get me Clay's private number. Clay? Bo's business partner? Why? I close the safe, straightening my spine. Because Bo's not the only one who can play the long game. He wants to destroy me? Fine. But I'm taking everything he loves down with me. What are you going to do? I rest my hand on my belly, feeling my child move beneath my palm. When I speak, my voice is steel. I'm going to show him exactly what happens when you back a pregnant woman into a corner. The baby kicks, strong and sure, like a sign, like permission. Game on, darling husband. Game on. Rain pelts the windows of the coffee shop as I watch Clay approach through the glass. He spots me immediately. Not hard when you're the only heavily pregnant woman in the place, but hesitates at the door. I can almost see him weighing his options. Finally, he slides into the booth across from me, water dripping from his coat. Jillian, this is unexpected. Is it? I push a manila envelope across the table. Because I think you've been expecting this conversation for a while. His fingers tap an anxious rhythm on the tabletop. I can't discuss company business without Bo's permission? I cut in. That's funny, because these documents suggest you've been doing quite a bit without Bo's permission. Color drains from his face as he opens the envelope. I sip my tea, letting him process what he's seeing. 3 years of watching Bo negotiate taught me the power of silence. Where did you get these? His voice barely carries over the rain. Same place I got proof that you've been skimming from the Moore family account since before Bo joined the firm. I lean forward. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Clay's expression hardens. Is this blackmail? This is a warning. I rest my hand on my belly, feeling my child's reassuring movements. Bo's going to try to pin everything on me at next week's board meeting. When he does, these documents go public. You destroy yourself too. I'm already destroyed. The words come out sharper than intended. I take a breath, steady myself. but I can prove my signatures were forged. Can you prove the same about yours? A crack of thunder punctuates my question. Clay stares at his hands, and I see the moment his resolve breaks. He wasn't supposed to involve you. He whispers. The original plan? It was just supposed to be about the trust fund. Tell me, Stephen, Beau's father, he's been threatening to write Beau out of his will. Something about him not being worthy of the Moore legacy. Clay's laugh is bitter. Beau wanted revenge. And the money, of course. Always the money. So he married me for legitimacy, I say, the pieces clicking into place. The perfect wife, the perfect life, the perfect cover. Clay confirms. But then you got pregnant and everything changed. He started taking bigger risks, moving more money. Said he needed to secure his future now that there was an heir involved. My tea turns sour in my stomach. And Ruby? She works in accounting. Started helping him hide the transfers 6 months ago. He hesitates. Her pregnancy wasn't planned. It scared him. Made him accelerate everything. Including getting rid of me. Clay meets my eyes for the first time. He's going to destroy you, Jillian. He's got everything set up. The fake documents, the witness statements, even recordings of phone calls that never happened. The board will believe him. Unless someone with inside knowledge speaks up. He glances at the envelope. Someone who can prove where the money really went. I let his words hang between us, heavy with implication. Outside, the storm intensifies. I need time to think, he says finally. You have until Tuesday. I slide a burner phone across the table. My number's programmed in. If I don't hear from you by then, I'll assume you're choosing Beau's side. Standing takes more effort than it should. My back aches, and exhaustion pulls at every muscle. Clay catches my arm as I sway slightly. You should be resting, he says, concern flickering across his face. In your condition. My condition is exactly why I can't rest. I pull away gently. I'm fighting for 2 now. I'm almost to the door when he calls out. Jillian, there's something else you should know. About Ruby. My hand freezes on the door handle. What about her? She's not really pregnant. It's part of their plan. She'll fake a miscarriage next month. They thought it would help her case when she claims part of your settlement. The rain suddenly sounds very far away. All I can hear is my own heartbeat, steady and strong like my baby's. Thank you for telling me, I say without turning around. Outside, the storm has turned the city gray and blurry, like an old photograph. I stand under the awning, one hand pressed against my stomach, the other clutching my phone. My fingers move automatically, typing a message to the unknown number that started all this. Need everything you have on Ruby, especially medical records. The response comes instantly. Already on it. But there's more. Stephen knows something's wrong. He's hired private investigators. I smile as another crack of thunder splits the sky. Perfect. Time to add another player to the game. The city glitters below my penthouse windows, a constellation of lights I used to find beautiful. Now they just remind me of all the lies wrapped in pretty packages. I press my forehead against the cool glass, watching my breath fog the surface. You need to see this. Paige's voice breaks through my thoughts. She's sprawled across my couch, laptop balanced on her knees, surrounded by papers like a war room command center. I lower myself carefully beside her, my back protesting. What did you find? Ruby's medical records. She turns the screen toward me. Or should I say, Rebecca's medical records. My eyes scan the document, catching on details. She changed her name 3 years ago, right after her last interesting career choice. Paige pulls up another window. Turns out Ruby used to be quite the con artist. Small-time stuff mostly. Insurance fraud, identity theft. But here's where it gets good. A news article appears featuring a younger version of Ruby with different hair but the same predatory smile. The headline reads, Woman accused of pregnancy scam and divorce settlement. She's done this before, I whisper. 3 times. Paige's fingers fly across the keyboard. Always the same pattern. Affair with a wealthy married man, fake pregnancy, dramatic miscarriage after securing a settlement. My phone buzzes. Clay's burner number. We need to talk. Now. It's worse than we thought. 20 minutes later, I'm back at the same coffee shop, but this time Clay isn't alone. A woman sits beside him, middle-aged, elegant, with Stephen's sharp eyes. Jillian. Stephen's wife, Margaret, reaches for my hand. We've been waiting for you to figure it out. I sink into the booth, heart pounding. Figure what out? That Beau's not working alone. Clay glances nervously at the door. Stephen's been orchestrating everything from the beginning. Margaret's laugh is cold. My husband thinks he's so clever. 30 years I've watched him manipulate people, destroy lives. But this? She shakes her head. Using his own son's greed against him? That's new. I don't understand. Stephen knew about Beau's embezzling months ago, Clay explains. Instead of stopping it, he encouraged it. Fed him information, helped him set up accounts, all while building a case against him. And me, I add quietly. You were supposed to be collateral damage. Margaret's voice softens. Just another casualty in Stephen's grand plan to prove Beau unworthy of the Moore legacy. My baby kicks hard, making me wince. Margaret notices. That's why I couldn't stay quiet anymore. She reaches into her bag, pulls out a USB drive. Everything's here. Every transaction, every phone call, every meeting. Stephen's been recording everything. Why are you helping me? Her eyes fix on my stomach. Because 30 years ago, I was you. Pregnant, betrayed, caught in Stephen's games. I chose to stay silent. Her fingers twist her wedding ring. I won't watch another woman's life be destroyed by more men. Clay's phone chimes. His face goes pale. Beau's called an emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. He knows. The realization hits like ice water. Someone tipped him off. We need to move fast. Margaret stands. I can get you into Stephen's office tonight. The real evidence is there. Everything you need to protect yourself. It's too risky, Clay protests. If you're caught, I won't be. I push myself up, one hand on my back. Because you're going to help create a distraction. Later, as I lay in bed trying to sleep, Paige's voice comes through the darkness. She insisted on staying over, camping out on my couch like we're teenagers again. Are you sure about this? She asks. Breaking into Stephen's office, it's not just unethical, it's illegal. I stare at the ceiling, remembering Margaret's eyes when she talked about staying silent. Remembering Ruby's smirk at my baby shower. Remembering Beau's cold smile as he destroyed my world. They made it illegal, I say finally. When they decided to use the law as a weapon. When they thought they could sacrifice my life, my baby's future, for their games. My hand rests on my belly, feeling the strong kicks that remind me what I'm fighting for. Sometimes justice doesn't look like what we expect. Just be careful, Paige whispers. Not just of them, of yourself. Revenge changes people. I think of the evidence waiting in Stephen's office, of the choices I'll have to make tomorrow, of the line between justice and vengeance and how easy it is to blur. I'm already changed, I tell the darkness. The question is, what am I changing into? My phone lights up with a final message from Margaret. Office alarm disabled at midnight. Don't make me regret this. No turning back now. Tomorrow I find out what I'm really capable of. The Moore building looms over me like a steel and glass mountain, its top floors lost in low-hanging clouds. My heart pounds as I swipe Margaret's security card, willing my hands not to shake. The lobby camera's red light blinks steadily. Clay's handling that, feeding looped footage from last week. Security rounds in 20 minutes. Margaret's voice crackles through my earpiece. Elevator to 47. Hurry. The elevator rises silently, each floor bringing me closer to the point of no return. I catch my reflection in the polished doors. A woman I barely recognize, dressed in black, face pale but determined. My baby shifts restlessly, as if sensing my tension. "I know, little one," I whisper. "Mommy's scared too." The elevator dings. Stephen's corner office suite stretches before me, Manhattan's lights twinkling beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. I'm halfway to his private office when a lamp clicks on. "I wondered if you'd come." Stephen sits in his leather chair, watching me with those calculating eyes. My blood turns to ice. "How did you know?" He gestures to a chair. "Please sit. In your condition, you shouldn't be standing." My earpiece crackles. "Jillian, what's happening?" Margaret's voice is tight with worry. I sink into the chair, mind racing. Stephen reaches over and gently removes my earpiece, setting it on his desk. "Margaret means well," he says, "but she never understood the bigger picture." "And what picture is that?" My voice comes out steadier than I feel. "The one where you destroy your son and daughter-in-law for sport?" He laughs, but there's no warmth in it. "You think this is about destruction? This is about legacy, about separating the worthy from the weak. By setting up your own son? By testing him." Stephen leans forward. "And you? Tell me, what were you hoping to find tonight?" "The truth." But whose truth?" He opens a drawer, removes a familiar USB drive. "Margaret's? Clay's? Or perhaps—" He pulls out another drive. "The actual records of every illegal transaction Beau's made since joining the company?" My hands curl into fists. "You've been watching me." "Of course. And I must say you've exceeded expectations. The way you turned Clay, brought Margaret to your side, impressive." His smile reminds me of a shark. "You're everything Beau isn't. Strategic, patient, willing to sacrifice for the long game." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying you have a choice." He places both drives on the desk. One contains everything you need to destroy Beau completely. The other has proof of his crimes but protects the company and your child's inheritance. Understanding dawns. This was never about Beau. This was about finding someone worthy of running your company. The more legacy needs strength, conviction. His eyes drop to my stomach, and an air raised by someone who understands power. "You want me to take over?" "Want?" "No, I'm offering you the chance to earn it." He slides the drives toward me. "Choose wisely." My baby kicks hard, making me gasp. Stephen's expression softens fractionally. "You have your child to think about now. Their future, their security." I stare at the drives, remembering Beau's cruel smile at the baby shower, remembering Margaret's haunted eyes. 30 years of silence. "You're right," I say quietly. "I do have my child to think about." I stand, bracing myself against the desk. And that's exactly why I can't become you. Before he can react, I snatch both drives and step back. My baby deserves better than a legacy built on manipulation and fear. "Don't be foolish." His voice hardens. "You're throwing away everything." "No." I straighten my spine. "I'm choosing something better. Tomorrow at the board meeting, everything comes out. All of it. Your games, Beau's crimes, Ruby's cons. Let the chips fall where they may. They'll destroy you. Maybe." I move toward the door. But my child will know their mother chose truth over power, love over legacy. Security's already on their way up. I smile, feeling strangely calm. No, they're not. Because in about 30 seconds, every computer in this building is going to start downloading some very interesting files. Paige says hello, by the way. She's quite good with systems. His face contorts. "You exceeded expectations?" I rest my hand on my belly. "Thank you for the lesson in legacy, Stephen. I'll be sure to teach my child a better one." The elevator doors close on his thunderous expression. My phone buzzes. Paige confirming the files are spreading through the company servers. By morning, everyone will know everything. "It's done," I whisper to my baby. "No more secrets, no more games." The elevator descends, and with each floor, I feel lighter. Tomorrow will bring chaos, but for the first time since the baby shower, I'm not afraid. I've chosen my legacy. Now it's time to build it. Morning sunlight streams through my bedroom windows as I button my blazer, trying to find an angle where I look more confident than terrified. The board meeting starts in 2 hours and my hands won't stop shaking. My phone lights up with Paige's text. Turn on the news, now. The TV flickers to life and there's Beau standing outside the Moore building. Ruby clutches his arm, tears streaming down her perfectly made-up face, devastated to announce that due to complications, we've lost the baby. She sobs. And to discover that my private medical information was stolen and distributed by someone I trusted. The camera pans to Beau's grief-stricken expression. My wife, my ex-wife, has been unstable since learning about the divorce. But this violation of privacy, this targeted harassment of Ruby during such a tragic time. My coffee mug shatters against the wall before I realize I've thrown it. That manipulative bastard. Serenity spits from my doorway. He's playing the sympathy card. He's neutralizing our evidence about Ruby's fake pregnancy. I say, my voice hollow, making me look unhinged before I can even present my case. My phone buzzes again. Clay. Emergency. Meet me at the cafe. Now. 20 minutes later, I slide into our usual booth. Clay's face is ashen. They got to Margaret. He says without preamble. Stephen threatened to expose her own secrets. She's recanting everything. The room spins slightly. What secrets? Apparently she had an affair years ago. The daughter Stephen thinks is his... Clay rubs his face. She's choosing to protect her family. I'm sorry. So we've lost Margaret's testimony. The pregnancy evidence is worthless, and half the board probably thinks I'm having a mental breakdown. I press my hands against my belly, seeking comfort in my baby's movements. What else can go wrong? The cafe door chimes. Ruby walks in, alone. Hello, Jillian. She slides into the booth next to Clay, who goes rigid. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Really? Not even about this? She places a phone on the table. The screen shows a video of me in Stephen's office last night. Amazing what security cameras catch, isn't it? My throat goes dry. What do you want? To make a deal. She leans forward. That video goes public in 1 hour unless you agree to sign a confession. Take responsibility for the embezzlement, drop all claims to company assets, and disappear. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, Beau has evidence suggesting you've been stealing money to fund a drug habit. Very concerning for an expectant mother. Her smile is venomous. Child Services takes those claims very seriously. The baby kicks hard, as if protesting. Clay starts to speak, but I silence him with a look. You really are perfect for each other, I tell Ruby, both so focused on the game that you miss the obvious. Which is? I pull out my phone, start a recording. Could you repeat that threat about Child Services? And maybe mention again how you'll fabricate drug evidence if I don't comply? Color drains from her face. You have been recording every conversation since the baby shower? Yes. I meet her eyes. Your move. She snatches her phone and storms out. Clay lets out a shaky breath. That was risky. No. I gather my things. That was necessary. She just confirmed they're desperate. What are you going to do? My phone buzzes with a text from the unknown number. Stephen's private server accessed. Found something you need to see. Meeting room B, 30 minutes. I'm going to do what they never expected, I tell Clay. I'm going to tell the truth. The whole truth. No games, no schemes, no manipulation. They'll fight dirty. Let them. I stand, squaring my shoulders. I'm done playing by their rules. In meeting room B, I find a thick folder waiting. Inside are documents that make my hands tremble. Not with fear this time, but with certainty. My phone buzzes one last time. Beau. Last chance. Walk away now or I'll destroy everything you have left. I think of our baby, growing strong despite everything. Think of the legacy of lies I'm breaking free from. Think of the truth waiting in that folder. No, I type back. You destroyed everything I had 2 weeks ago. Now I'm building something new, something honest. See you at the board meeting. I rest my hand on my belly, feeling my child's steady movements. Ready to help mommy burn it all down, little one? The kick I feel is strong, decisive, like a battle drum. Time to end this, once and for all. The boardroom falls silent as I walk in, every eye tracking my movement. Bo sits at Stephen's right hand, Ruby beside him like a perfectly positioned chess piece. The morning sun through the windows casts their faces in harsh relief, highlighting the tension in their practiced smiles. My heels click against marble as I make my way to the podium. The folder in my hands weighs nothing and everything. Before we begin, Stephen stands, all paternal concern. Given recent events and Mrs. Moore's emotional state, perhaps we should... It's Ms. Wilcox now. I cut in, my voice steady. And I'm exactly where I need to be. I open the folder, laying out documents one by one. My hands don't shake anymore. 2 weeks ago, my husband served me divorce papers at my baby shower. It was cruel, calculated, and perfectly orchestrated. I meet Bo's eyes. It was also a smokescreen. Ruby shifts uncomfortably. Bo's jaw tightens. We're all busy people, so I'll be direct. Every person at this table has received evidence of extensive embezzlement from company accounts. Evidence suggesting my involvement. I pause, letting the tension build. That evidence was fabricated, but not by who you think. I slide the first document forward, a series of emails between Stephen and Bo spanning 3 years. This wasn't about a son stealing from his father. This was about a father using his son's greed to orchestrate a corporate coup. My voice carries to every corner. Every transaction, every false document, every manipulated record, all orchestrated by Stephen Moore. The board members murmur, reaching for copies of the emails. Stephen's face darkens. These could easily be falsified, he says smoothly. Unlike the evidence against me? I pull out my phone, press play. Stephen's voice fills the room. The Moore legacy needs strength. Conviction. Color drains from his face as the recording continues, laying bare his entire scheme. Bo stands abruptly, pointing at me. You can't seriously believe... Sit down, Bo. The command cracks like a whip. It's Margaret standing in the doorway. It's over. She walks to the center of the room, drops a stack of papers on the table. 30 years of records, every manipulation, every scheme, every destroyed career. I kept receipts. You promised. Stephen starts. I promised to stay silent about our daughter. Margaret cuts in. I said nothing about your business practices. Ruby tries to slip toward the door, but Paige blocks her path. Going somewhere? Maybe to delete those fake medical records? Too late. The boardroom erupts in chaos. Questions fly. Accusations mount. Through it all, I keep my eyes on Bo, watching his carefully constructed world crumble. Why? He asks finally, voice cracking. I gave you everything. No. I rest my hand on my belly, feeling our child move. You gave me a beautiful lie, but our baby deserves better than a legacy built on deception. The company will survive. I turn to the board. Every stolen penny has been traced. With Clay's help, we've already begun recovering funds. The Moore Group can be rebuilt, stronger and more ethical. Under whose leadership? Someone asks. Mine. Margaret's voice rings with authority. Unless anyone objects? The silence is deafening. Stephen seems to age decades before our eyes. Security is waiting outside. I tell him quietly. You have a choice. Leave quietly or be escorted out. Either way, the DA has everything they need. He stands slowly, straightening his tie one last time. You've destroyed decades of work. No, Margaret says. We've saved this company from what you turned it into. As security leads them out, Stephen, Bo, Ruby, I feel the weight of the past months lifting. My baby kicks, strong and insistent. I know, little one. I whisper. We did it. The boardroom empties gradually. Margaret squeezes my hand as she passes. Ready to help me rebuild? I smile, thinking of the future stretching before us. Actually, I have other plans. Later, standing at my office window watching the sunset, I feel Paige approach. "So what now?" she asks. "Going to be a corporate warrior mom after all?" "No." I turn to face her. "I'm starting my own consulting firm, helping other women navigate corporate warfare and toxic divorces, using what I've learned to make sure no one else goes through this alone." She grins. "Need a partner?" "Always." My phone buzzes, a final message from my unknown ally. "Well played. The world needs more mothers like you." I smile, watching the city lights flicker to life. My baby moves beneath my palm, and I think about legacy. Not the kind built in boardrooms, but the kind built on truth, strength, and the courage to stand up when the world tries to break you. "Ready for our next adventure?" I ask my belly. The kick I feel is answer enough. The hospital room is quiet except for the steady beeping of monitors and my daughter's soft breathing. She's perfect. 10 tiny fingers, 10 tiny toes, and a fierce grip that hasn't loosened since they placed her in my arms. "She looks like you," Serenity whispers from beside my bed. Same determined chin. I trace my finger along my daughter's cheek, marveling at her softness. Poor thing. "Have you decided on a name?" Before I can answer, there's a knock at the door. A woman enters, tall, elegant, with silver-streaked dark hair and familiar eyes that make my breath catch. "Hello, Jillian." She smiles tentatively. I hope I'm not intruding. "You're the one who sent the texts," I realize. "The anonymous tips." She nods, moving closer. "I'm Elizabeth, Stephen's first wife." Serenity straightens, protective. "Why are you here?" "Because 30 years ago, I made a different choice than Jillian." Elizabeth's eyes fix on my daughter. When I discovered Stephen's manipulation, his games, I ran. Left everything behind, including my chance to change things. She places a small package on my bedside table. "This arrived at my office this morning. I thought you should see it." Inside is a newspaper, today's edition. The headline reads, "Moore Group announces new direction. Margaret Moore implements sweeping ethics reforms." "Keep reading," Elizabeth urges. My eyes scan down. In related news, former CEO Stephen Moore and son Beau Moore have accepted plea deals in the ongoing fraud investigation. Ruby Joseph, identified as a key conspirator, faces additional charges. "Justice comes in many forms," Elizabeth says softly. "Sometimes it's loud and public. Sometimes it's quiet, like a baby girl born free from toxic legacies." "Why did you help me?" I ask. "Why now?" "Because 30 years ago, Margaret stayed to fight while I ran. We were both trying to protect our children, but she proved there was another way." She reaches for her purse. "I've spent decades building networks, helping women escape men like Stephen. When Margaret told me about you, I knew it was time to come out of the shadows." My daughter stirs, making tiny mewling sounds. Elizabeth's expression softens. "What will you name her?" I look down at my daughter's face, so new, yet so wise. "Truth." "Truth?" Serenity asks. "Truth Margaret Wilcox." I kiss my daughter's forehead. "Because that's what saved us, what will guide us." Elizabeth pulls out a business card. "When you're ready to start your consulting firm, call me. My network could use someone like you." "Someone like me?" "Someone who knows that real power isn't in boardrooms or bank accounts." She touches Truth's tiny hand. "It's in having the courage to stand up and say, 'No more.'" After she leaves, Serenity helps me adjust Truth against my chest. "You know, when all this started, I was so worried about you. I remember. You thought revenge would change me. It did change you." She squeezes my hand. "Just not how I expected." I think about the past months. The pain, the fury, the calculated moves and counter-moves. But mostly I think about the moment I chose truth over power, freedom over revenge. "I learned something," I tell Serenity. The opposite of manipulation isn't surrender, it's honesty. The opposite of control isn't chaos, it's choice. Truth makes a small sound like she's agreeing. Her eyes open, startlingly clear and direct. "Hello, my fierce girl," I whisper. "Welcome to our story." My phone lights up with messages. Paige confirming our office lease, Margaret sharing board meeting details, Clay sending congratulations. Each one represents a thread in the new tapestry I'm weaving. But right now, in this quiet room, none of that matters. What matters is my daughter's heartbeat against my chest, steady and strong. What matters is the truth we fought for, the legacy we'll build together. I think of Beau, of Stephen, of all their careful plans and power plays. They never understood that real strength isn't in what you can take from others. It's in what you choose to give, what you choose to build. Truth grips my finger, and in her tiny grasp, I feel everything I've gained by letting go of revenge. Purpose, clarity, freedom. A future built on honesty instead of games. "Ready to change the world?" I ask my daughter. Her eyes meet mine, fearless and bright. Like truth itself, she doesn't need words to answer.
The Cartier box sat on my desk like a promise, its deep red surface catching the morning light. I ran my fingers over the embossed logo, still hardly believing it was mine. After 3 years of 60-hour weeks and sacrificed weekends, validation had finally arrived in the form of this elegant little package. "Savannah, you've earned this." Ryland's words from yesterday's meeting still echoed in my head. The way he'd placed the box in front of me, that proud mentor's smile spreading across his face. "Your dedication to the Morrison project hasn't gone unnoticed." I lifted the lid again, though I'd already checked its contents a dozen times since yesterday. The bracelet gleamed against the cream-colored cushion, each diamond catching the light like a tiny star. It was exactly the kind of piece I'd always dreamed of owning, but could never justify buying for myself. My phone buzzed. Laura's name flashed across the screen. "Please tell me you haven't worn it yet," she said, before I could even say hello. "What? The bracelet?" "Yes, the bracelet. Don't put it on." Something in her voice made my stomach clench. "Why not? What's wrong?" "I need you to check something for me." Laura's words came fast, urgent. "Go to your email and search for any receipts from Cartier in the last week." "Laura, what are you— Just do it, please." I balanced the phone between my ear and shoulder, typing with suddenly unsteady fingers. The search results populated quickly. One email from 3 days ago. I clicked it open, and the world tilted sideways. The receipt showed the bracelet had been charged to my corporate card. My corporate card that I hadn't used in weeks. "That's impossible," I whispered. "Ryland gave this to me as a bonus. For the Morrison project." "Check the timestamp on the purchase," Laura said quietly. Tuesday 9:47 p.m., the exact time I'd been presenting the Morrison findings to the board. "I don't understand." But even as I said it, understanding was seeping in like cold water. "How did you know to look for this?" "Because Luna from accounting mentioned something weird about expense reports this morning. She said Ryland's been pulling some creative accounting lately, especially with employee gifts." My eyes fixed on the bracelet, its sparkle now seeming less like starlight and more like sharp edges waiting to cut. "Savannah," Laura's voice softened, "there's more. Remember that dinner package he gave you last month, the one at Le Bernardin?" The memory of that evening, the perfect wine pairings, the way Ryland had insisted on ordering every course, suddenly felt hollow. "Don't tell me." "Your corporate card again, but he recorded it as a client meeting." My free hand clenched into a fist. All those late nights I'd spent perfecting presentations, believing I was proving myself. All those times he'd praised my potential, positioned himself as my champion. "He's been doing this for months, hasn't he?" The words came out barely above a whisper. "I think you need to look deeper," Laura said. "This isn't just about fancy dinners and jewelry. Luna said there's a pattern, and it's bigger than just you." The morning sunlight still streamed through my office window, but it felt colder now. I stared at the Cartier box, remembering Ryland's satisfied smile as he'd handed it to me. Not pride in my accomplishments, pride in his own manipulation. "What else did Luna say?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. She couldn't tell me much, but she's worried enough that she's been keeping records. "And Savannah?" Laura paused. "She thinks someone's noticed her looking into it. Yesterday, her files were accessed without authorization." The implications hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just about fraudulent gifts. This was about power, control, and something much darker lurking beneath the surface of our polished corporate world. My phone buzzed with another incoming call. Ryland's name flashed on the screen. "He's calling me right now," I told Laura. "Don't answer. We need to figure out what's really going on first." She hesitated. "What are you going to do with the bracelet?" I looked at the beautiful trap sitting on my desk, thinking of all the strings I hadn't known were attached. My fingers traced the edge of the box one last time before I snapped it shut. "I'm going to find out exactly what game he's playing," I said, "and then I'm going to make him wish he'd never tried to make me his pawn." The office felt different now, like a stage set, where I finally noticed the artificial lights and painted backdrops. Every casual greeting, every friendly nod, I questioned it all. How many others were caught in webs they couldn't see? I'd moved the Cartier box to my bottom drawer, but I could still feel its presence like a splinter under my skin. My corporate card sat next to my keyboard, innocent-looking, despite the betrayal it represented. "Savannah?" Ryland's voice made me flinch. He stood in my doorway, radiating that practiced concern that I'd once found so reassuring. "You missed my call earlier. Everything okay?" I forced a smile. "Sorry, I was deep in the quarterly reports." The lie came easily, surprising me. "Was just about to call you back." He stepped into my office, closing the door behind him. My pulse quickened. "The bracelet fit all right?" His eyes flickered to my bare wrists. "Actually..." I pulled the box from my drawer, watching his expression carefully. "I wanted to talk to you about that." Something shifted in his face, so subtle I would have missed it before. "Is there a problem? I received an interesting email this morning." I kept my voice light, professional. "A receipt for the bracelet, charged to my corporate card." Ryland's laugh was immediate, practiced. "Oh, that. Simple mix-up in accounting. I meant to have that transferred to my personal account." He leaned forward, voice dropping conspiratorially. "Between us, the company's been a bit strict about gifts lately. I wanted to recognize your work without dealing with red tape." The explanation was smooth, reasonable. 3 days ago, I would have accepted it without question. But now... "Like the dinner at Le Bernardin?" I asked. His smile flickered. "That was a client meeting." "Really?" "Because I checked the calendar. No clients were booked that night." Silence stretched between us. Outside my office, phones rang and keyboards clicked, the mundane soundtrack to this moment of unraveling. "Savannah." Ryland's voice softened to that mentoring tone I'd heard so often. "I think you might be misinterpreting things. We've always had a great working relationship. I'd hate to see that damaged by some accounting confusion." "Confusion?" The word tasted bitter. "Is that what you call unauthorized charges, creative expense reporting?" His expression hardened. "Be careful with accusations like that. They have consequences." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm advising you." He straightened, authority replacing the friendly mentor mask. "You're talented, Savannah, real potential, but potential needs guidance, protection. The corporate world isn't always kind to lone wolves." The threat was clear beneath his words. My hands trembled slightly, but I kept my voice steady. "Thank you for the advice. And the bracelet, but I think there's been a misunderstanding." I held out the red box. "I can't accept this." Ryland didn't take it. Instead, he smiled. A new smile. One I'd never seen before. "Keep it. Consider it a reminder of everything we've built together." He moved to the door, pausing with his hand on the handle. "Oh, and about the Morrison project. Let's meet tomorrow to discuss some adjustments to your role. The door clicked shut behind him. I sat there, heart pounding, the Cartier box still in my outstretched hand. My phone buzzed. Laura, I just saw Rylan leaving your office, she said. Are you okay? No. My voice shook. Laura, he basically threatened my position, the Morrison project. I stopped, a horrible thought forming. Wait, the Morrison numbers. I need to check something. I pulled up the project files, scanning through spreadsheets I'd reviewed countless times. But now I was looking with new eyes, seeing patterns I'd missed before. Oh God, I whispered. What is it? The revenue projections. They're inflated, significantly. My fingers flew across the keyboard, checking more documents. These client contracts. Laura, some of these signatures look wrong. Are you saying, I think? I swallowed hard. I think I've been unknowingly presenting fraudulent data to the board. For months. Silence on the line. He's not just stealing through expense reports, I said. He's been using me to cover up something much bigger. And now that someone's asking questions... He's setting you up to take the fall, Laura finished. I stared at my computer screen, at the numbers that now seemed to mock me. All those late nights, that desperate need to prove myself, he'd used it all against me. Laura, I said, my voice hardening, I need everything Luna has, every record, every suspicious transaction, and I need it before my meeting with Rylan tomorrow. Savannah, that's dangerous. If he realizes, he already does. I looked at the Cartier box, his parting gift now feeling like a collar. But he doesn't realize one thing. What's that? I'm done being his perfect protégé. Rain drummed against the coffee shop window, matching my restless pulse. Luna sat across from me, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of her untouched latte. We'd chosen this spot 3 blocks from the office, far enough to avoid familiar faces, close enough to maintain plausible deniability. I shouldn't be showing you this, Luna said, sliding a USB drive across the table. But after what happened to Melissa last year... Melissa? The name struck a chord. The senior analyst who resigned. Resigned is a nice way of putting it. Luna's voice dropped lower. She started asking questions about irregular payments. 2 weeks later, she was called into a meeting about documentation discrepancies in her reports. They gave her a choice, resign or face an internal audit. My stomach clenched. And you think Rylan? I know he did, because I processed the paperwork. Shame colored her words. I've been keeping records ever since. But he's careful. Everything has just enough legitimacy to pass a cursory check. I pocketed the drive, hyper-aware of its weight. Thank you. I know this puts you at risk. Savannah? A familiar voice cut through the cafe's ambient noise. I turned to see Remington standing there, elegant in her charcoal suit despite the rain. I thought that was you. My pulse spiked. Remington was Rylan's right hand in most projects. Had she followed us? Rem, just grabbing coffee with Luna. I forced lightness into my voice. You remember Luna from accounting? Of course. Remington's smile didn't reach her eyes. Interesting choice of venue. Bit far from the office. Sometimes you need a change of scenery, Luna said, standing abruptly. I should head back. Those expense reports won't process themselves. I watched her hurry out into the rain, praying I hadn't just exposed her. When I turned back, Remington had taken her seat. Funny thing, she said, studying me. Rylan mentioned you've been asking about expense reporting procedures. Just trying to understand the process better. I met her gaze steadily, though my hands trembled beneath the table. Really? Because he seemed concerned, you might be misinterpreting things. Did he send you to check on me? Remington's expression softened unexpectedly. No, I came to warn you. That caught me off guard. What? Listen carefully, Savannah. Tomorrow morning, IT will audit your computer. They'll find emails suggesting you've been manipulating project data. By lunch, HR will be involved. Ice spread through my veins. How do you know this? Because I've seen it before. She glanced around before continuing. 3 years ago, I was you. Rising star, dedicated worker, perfect target, the gifts, the mentoring, the gradual involvement in projects just slightly over the line. What happened? I played along. Bitterness edged her words. Became the perfect accomplice instead of the perfect scapegoat. It was that, or lose everything I'd worked for. Understanding dawned. That's why you're always at his side. Better the devil's right hand than under his boot. She stood, adjusting her blazer. You have until tomorrow morning. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. Why are you helping me? Remington paused. Because I see myself in you, and because... She hesitated. Because maybe this time someone can actually stop him. After she left, I sat there watching rain streak down the window, mind racing. The USB drive felt heavier than ever in my pocket. My phone buzzed. Laura, where are you? She asked. I just saw Luna practically running through the lobby. Get Daniel, I said. Meet me at my place in an hour. And Laura, bring your laptop. We've got one night to save everything I've worked for. What's happening? I thought of Melissa, of Remington's bitter confession, of all the others who'd faced this choice before me. Ryland's making his move tomorrow, but this time he's picked the wrong target. Savannah, you're scaring me. Good. I stood, gathering my courage with my belongings. Because I'm done being scared. It's his turn. The rain had softened to a mist as I stepped outside. Somewhere in the building I'd called my professional home, a trap was being laid. Evidence planted, stories crafted, a narrative that would destroy everything I'd built. But Ryland had made one crucial mistake. He'd taught me too well, shown me exactly how to play this game. And now, with Luna's evidence and Remington's warning, I had something he didn't expect. I had nothing left to lose. My phone buzzed again, Ryland's name lighting up the screen. I declined the call, watching droplets race down the screen like tears. Tomorrow would change everything. The only question was, for whom? My living room had become a war room. Laura's laptop glowed beside mine on the coffee table, surrounded by empty coffee cups and takeout containers. Daniel paced behind us, his usual polished demeanor fraying at the edges. These numbers are worse than we thought, Laura said, scrolling through Luna's files. He's been cooking the books on at least 6 major projects. The Morrison deal is just the tip of the iceberg. But why risk it? Daniel stopped pacing. The company's doing well. The legitimate profits aren't enough for someone like Ryland, I finished, remembering his expensive suits, the luxury car, that vacation house he'd mentioned buying. He's been skimming for years, hiding it in inflated project costs and fake expenses. Using other people's corporate cards, Laura added, creating a paper trail that leads to everyone but him. My screen flickered with another incoming email from Ryland. Third one tonight, each subject line more urgent than the last. Daniel leaned over my shoulder. You should answer him. Keep him thinking you're still his perfect protege. No. I closed the laptop. The moment I engage, he'll start crafting a new narrative. Right now, he's off balance. Speaking of narratives, Laura turned her screen toward me. Look what I found in the encrypted files. My breath caught. On the screen was a draft email, addressed to the board, detailing concerns about my handling of the Morrison project. The date was from 3 weeks ago, long before I'd discovered anything wrong. He's been planning this for months, I whispered. There's more. Laura's voice was gentle. Remember that promotion you were up for last quarter? The one that went to Marcus instead. What about it? According to these emails, you were the board's first choice. Ryland blocked it. The revelation hit like a physical blow. All those extra hours I'd pulled, believing I just needed to prove myself more. All while he'd been actively holding me back, keeping me dependent on his mentorship. Bastard, Daniel muttered. My phone lit up, Zoe calling. I almost declined until I remembered she worked in IT. Savannah? Her voice was hushed, urgent. You need to get to the office. Now. It's almost midnight. They're moving faster than expected. The system audit is already running. By morning, on my way. I grabbed my coat. Laura, Daniel, keep digging. Forward anything crucial to my personal email before they lock me out. You can't go alone, Laura protested. She won't. Daniel grabbed his keys. I know the night security team. I'll get her in. The drive was tense. Rain starting up again as we pulled into the empty parking garage. Daniel's security clearance got us through the lobby, but my heart still pounded with every camera we passed. 10 minutes, he whispered as we reached my floor. I'll keep watch. My office looked untouched, but my computer was running, the audit program silently combing through years of emails and files. I pulled out Luna's USB drive, hands shaking slightly as I began the file transfer. A shadow fell across my desk. I had a feeling you'd come. I spun to find Remington in the doorway, her expression unreadable. Are you here to stop me? I asked, my finger hovering over the keyboard. No. She stepped inside, closing the door. I'm here to help you understand what you're really up against. She placed a folder on my desk. Before you go nuclear, you need to see this. Inside were photos. Rylan at dinner with various executives, including several board members. Private meetings, expensive restaurants, handshakes that looked more like promises. He's not working alone, I realized. The Morrison project, it goes all the way up. Rylan's their golden boy because he makes certain problems disappear and certain profits appear. My carefully constructed plan suddenly felt naive. So even with proof, they'll bury it, and you. Remington's eyes held something like sympathy. Unless what? Unless you have something they can't bury, something that would hurt them more than it hurts you. A new email popped up on my screen, from Laura. She'd found something in Luna's files, something about offshore accounts and board member names. I might, I said slowly, but I'll need help. Remington studied me for a long moment. You understand there's no going back. Not from this. I thought of all the others who'd faced this choice. Melissa, Luna, Remington herself. Each forced to decide between submission and destruction. Going back was never an option, I said. Not really. She nodded once, decision made. Then let's make it count this time. My phone buzzed again, Rylan's name lighting up the screen like a warning, but this time I smiled. Let him call, let him worry. Tomorrow wouldn't go the way he planned, not even close. Morning light filtered through the office windows, but I hadn't slept. My blazer felt like armor as I walked past familiar faces, wondering which ones knew what was coming. The USB drive in my pocket might as well have been radioactive. Savannah. Elijah's voice stopped me halfway to my desk. The senior executive rarely ventured to our floor. A word? His office was all mahogany and morning sun, the kind of space that screamed authority. I'd always admired it from afar. Now it felt like walking into a trap. Rylan tells me you've been raising concerns about the Morrison project, he said, settling behind his desk. Just doing my due diligence. I kept my voice steady, professional. Some discrepancies caught my attention. Discrepancies. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You know, I remember when Rylan first recommended you for the project. She's perfect, he said. Dedicated, thorough, maybe too thorough for her own good. The implied threat hung in the air between us. Funny thing about thoroughness, I said. Sometimes you find things you weren't meant to see, like offshore accounts linked to board member emails. His smile vanished. Careful, Savannah. Some doors are better left closed. I agree. I pulled out my phone, showing him the email I'd drafted last night. That's why I copied everything I found to 3 separate secure locations. If anything happens to me, or my position, or anyone who helped me. I let the threat hang. Elijah's face hardened. You're playing a dangerous game. No, I'm ending one that's destroyed too many careers and lives already. I stood, heart pounding but voice firm. Check your email in an hour. You'll want to see what I found before the board meeting. I was shaking by the time I reached my office. Laura was waiting inside. You okay? She asked. You look like you've seen a ghost. Just threatened a senior executive. I collapsed into my chair. Either I just signed my death warrant or bought us the time we need. She closed the door. Daniel found something about Melissa, the analyst who resigned. She didn't just resign, she tried to report Rylan first, to Elijah. Ice spread through my veins. The same Elijah I just threatened. It gets worse. Laura's voice dropped. 2 days after she filed the report, her entire work history was altered. Performance reviews, project documentation, everything. They erased 5 years of achievements overnight. My computer chimed. An incoming message from Remington. Meeting in conference room B, now. Bring everything. It's starting, I whispered. The conference room was eerily quiet when we arrived. Remington sat with Daniel and Luna, their faces grim. A laptop was open between them. They're moving faster than we thought, Remington said without preamble. Board meeting's been moved up to noon. They're planning to present evidence of your misconduct. But we have proof. They don't care about proof. Luna's voice shook. They care about protecting themselves. The story's already written. You're the ambitious young executive who manipulated data for personal gain. Rylan's the mentor who discovered the deception. Then we release everything, I said. All of it. The offshore accounts, the altered records. They'll bury you, Daniel cut in. Just like Melissa. No, I pulled out the USB drive. They won't, because this time we have something they didn't expect. I plugged in the drive, pulling up files Laura and I had discovered last night. Emails, transaction records, board member names linked to numbered accounts. Melissa documented everything, I explained. But she played it safe, went through proper channels. We won't make that mistake. What are you suggesting? Remington asked. We don't just expose Rylan. We expose everyone, the whole system. I met each of their eyes. But I won't ask any of you to risk. I'm in, Luna said immediately. Me too, Daniel added. Remington studied the screen, then nodded slowly. They'll come after all of us. Let them try. I straightened, feeling stronger with each ally. We have 2 hours until the board meeting. Time to remind them why you shouldn't back an honest person into a corner. My phone lit up. Rylan calling again. This time I answered. Savannah, his voice oozed concern. We need to talk about your recent behavior. Yes, we do, I cut him off. In fact, let's talk about it in front of the board. Noon work for you? Silence then. Don't do anything you'll regret. Too late. I ended the call, turning to my allies. Ready to burn it all down? 4 determined faces looked back at me. Outside, the morning sun climbed higher, counting down to noon. To truth, to justice, to war. 11:45. The conference room felt like a powder keg, each passing minute bringing us closer to detonation. Laura and Daniel were positioning laptops around the table, while Luna nervously checked and rechecked our documentation. They're calling in security, Remington announced, striding in. Extra guards posted at every entrance, and... She hesitated. Zoe from IT just got escorted out. My stomach dropped. What? Why? They found out she warned us about the audit. She's been suspended pending investigation. Another casualty, another life disrupted because of me. The weight of it all pressed down like a physical force. We can still stop, Luna whispered. Walk away. Maybe if we delete everything. It's too late for that. Daniel's voice was grim. They're already moving against us. If we back down now... The door opened. Rylan stood there, immaculate as always, flanked by 2 men I didn't recognize. Savannah. His smile was pure predator. I thought we might have a private chat before the board meeting, clear up any misunderstandings. Nothing to clear up, I said, proud of how steady my voice remained. Everything's quite clear now. Is it? He stepped closer. Because from where I stand, I see a talented young executive about to throw away a promising career. Over what? Some accounting irregularities, office politics. Over fraud, manipulation, lives destroyed. Lives built, he corrected. Every person in this room has benefited from the system you're so eager to tear down. Ask Remington about her bonus last quarter. Or Daniel about his client portfolio. I glanced at them. Neither would meet my eyes. You see? Ryland's voice softened. We're all part of the same machine, Savannah. Sometimes the gears need greasing. That's all. And Melissa, was she just a gear that needed greasing? Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Melissa made choices. Poor ones. Don't make the same mistake. Actually, a new voice said, I'd say her choices were excellent. We all turned. Melissa herself stood in the doorway, elegant and composed. Beside her was Elijah, holding a familiar red Cartier box. Interesting gift this, Elijah said, setting the box on the table. Purchased with a corporate card, logged as a client expense, then gifted to an employee who never actually received it. Just one small thread in a very tangled web. Ryland's facade cracked slightly. Elijah, whatever she's told you. She hasn't told me anything, yet. Elijah turned to me. But I believe you have something to share, Savannah. Understanding dawned. My earlier confrontation with Elijah hadn't been a threat. It had been an opportunity. A chance to prove I'd do what Melissa couldn't. Stand my ground. Everything's ready, I said, nodding to Laura. She began connecting the laptops to the conference room displays. Ryland moved suddenly, reaching for the nearest computer, but Daniel blocked his path. Don't, Daniel warned. It's over. Nothing's over, Ryland snarled. You really think they'll believe you over me? I built this department. I made all of you. And now we're unmaking you, Melissa said quietly. The door opened again. Board members began filing in, their faces a mix of confusion and concern. I caught fragments of whispered conversations, something about emergency meetings, regulatory concerns, stock prices. Last chance, Ryland said under his breath. Walk away now. Keep your career. Stay, and I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. I thought of all the moments that had led here, the late nights, the praise, the careful grooming, the gifts that were really chains, the mentorship that was really manipulation. You know what your mistake was? I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. You taught me too well, showed me exactly how the game is played. I turned to the assembled board. Shall we begin? Ryland's mask finally shattered. He lunged for me, but security, the same guards he'd called to intimidate us, caught his arms. You have no idea what you're doing, he spat. Actually, I picked up the Cartier box, placed it deliberately in front of him. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm returning your gift. Laura started the presentation. Numbers, emails, and transaction records filled the screens. The board members' faces shifted from confusion to shock to something darker. Ryland struggled against the guards. This is all circumstantial. The offshore accounts aren't, Melissa cut in. Neither are the altered personnel records, added Luna, or the fraudulent client signatures, Daniel finished. I stood at the head of the table, surrounded by allies, not just colleagues anymore, but fellow survivors of Ryland's manipulation. Now, I addressed the board, let's talk about exactly how deep this corruption goes, because I promise you, this is just the beginning. The room fell silent except for the hum of electronics and Ryland's heavy breathing. Outside, the noon sun blazed through the windows, illuminating everything we'd kept in shadow for so long. It was time for light. The next 2 hours were a blur of revelations and denials. Board members shifted from dismissive to defensive to desperate as each layer of corruption emerged. Through it all, I remained standing, my voice steady as I guided them through years of systematic fraud. These signatures, I highlighted a contract on the screen, were forged after the clients had already rejected the terms. The real agreements show completely different numbers. That's impossible, one board member protested. Our audit team was deliberately understaffed and misdirected, Melissa cut in. I have emails proving it. Ryland sat silent now, his earlier rage replaced by calculating observation. That scared me more than his outburst had. A cornered predator was most dangerous when quiet. Even if these allegations are true, another board member said, going public would devastate shareholder value. Thousands of employees would suffer. They're already suffering, Luna spoke up, her usual timidity gone. Every person whose career was destroyed, every project manipulated, every client deceived, the damage is already done. What do you want? Elijah asked quietly. All eyes turned to me. The question hit harder than expected. What did I want? Revenge? Justice? The truth was both simpler and more complicated. I want accountability, I said. Real change, not just scapegoats and cover-ups. Starting with a full external audit and... I admit everything. Ryland's voice cut through the room like a blade. He stood slowly, straightening his tie. The fraud, the manipulation, all of it, he continued. I acted alone, used my position to deceive everyone, including the board. My pulse quickened. This wasn't surrender. This was strategy. These dedicated employees, he gestured to us, discovered my schemes and bravely brought them to light. They deserve commendation, not punishment. The board members exchanged glances. A perfect solution was being offered. One villain, a clean narrative, minimal disruption. No, I said. Ryland's eyes narrowed. Savannah, I'm confessing, giving you what you wanted. What I want is the truth, all of it. I turned to the board. He's offering himself as a sacrifice to protect the system that enabled him. But look at these authorization codes. Look at who signed off on the offshore transfers. Careful, one board member warned. You're making accusations. I'm stating facts, I shot back. Facts documented in files that, as of an hour ago, are in the hands of 3 separate law firms. If anything happens to anyone in this room, if anyone faces retaliation, those files go public. Silence fell. I could feel Laura and Daniel's tension, Luna's fear, Melissa's quiet support. Everything hinged on this moment. Ryland moved with startling speed, grabbing my arm. You ungrateful... Several things happened at once. Security stepped forward. Daniel moved to intervene, but it was Remington who reached us first, her hand closing around Ryland's wrist. Let her go, she said quietly, or I release the recordings. Recordings? Ryland's grip loosened. Of every private conversation in your office for the past year, including some very interesting calls with board members. She smiled coldly. You taught me too well, too. He released me, stepping back. For the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. Here's what's going to happen. I addressed the room. A full investigation, external auditors, complete transparency. Anyone who cooperates gets consideration. Anyone who doesn't, I let the threat hang. You're destroying decades of work, Ryland said hoarsely. Everything we built was built on lies, I finished. And now we're going to rebuild it right. The board members were already on their phones, damage control instincts kicking in. But it was too late. The truth was out, documented, and distributed too widely to bury. Security, Elijah said quietly, please escort Mr. Gill to his office. He'll need to pack his things. As Ryland was led out, he paused beside me. I made you, he whispered. No, I replied. You tried to break me. There's a difference. The room slowly emptied until only our small group remained. Laura hugged me fiercely. Daniel clapped my shoulder. Luna looked like she might faint from relief. What happens now? Melissa asked. I looked around at these people who'd risked everything for truth, for justice, for each other. The morning sun had given way to afternoon shadows, but the air felt clearer somehow. Lighter. Now, I said, we fix what's broken, together. Remington picked up the Cartier box, that first symbol of manipulation that had started it all. Without a word, she dropped it in the trash, where it had always belonged. The evening sun painted long shadows across my office as I packed the last of my personal items. Not because I was leaving, quite the opposite. Tomorrow I'd move into a larger space on the executive floor, part of my new role leading the company's ethics and compliance overhaul. A soft knock drew my attention. Laura stood in the doorway, holding a familiar red box. "Found this in the conference room trash," she said. "Thought you might want it after all." I took the Cartier box, its weight different now, no longer a collar or a trap, just an expensive reminder. "Actually," I said, "I have a better idea." The women's shelter was quiet at this hour, just a few staff members at the front desk. The director, Sarah, greeted us warmly. "Ms. Ellis, we weren't expecting you until next week's board meeting." "This isn't an official visit." I handed her the box. "Consider it a donation. Should cover a few months of operational costs." Sarah's eyes widened as she opened it. Are you sure?" "Very," I smiled. Sometimes the best way to heal is to turn something painful into something good. Walking back to my car, Laura linked her arm through mine. "You know, when this all started, I was terrified for you. Now I'm just proud." "It's not over yet," I reminded her. "The external auditors are still digging. There will be more revelations, more resistance. But not alone this time." She was right. My phone buzzed with updates from our newly formed oversight committee. Daniel had uncovered 3 more suspicious projects. Luna was reconstructing years of altered records. Melissa was developing new compliance protocols. Even Remington, despite her past compromises, was proving invaluable in identifying vulnerable points in the system. Another message popped up, from Elijah. "Board approved your proposal. Full immunity for whistleblowers. It's official." "Good news?" Laura asked, noting my smile. "The best kind. The kind that protects people." Back in the parking garage, I spotted a familiar luxury car, Ryland's, still in his reserved spot. Tomorrow it would be gone, along with all the other trappings of his carefully constructed facade. "You never told me," Laura said as we reached my car. "That night when you found the receipt, did you know then what you were starting?" I thought back to that moment, the first crack in my perfect mentor's mask. "No, I just knew I couldn't be part of the lie anymore. Even if it cost you everything. Some prices are worth paying." I unlocked my car, then paused. Though I never expected to gain more than I lost, Laura hugged me goodbye, heading to her own car. Alone, I sat in the gathering darkness, thinking of all the moments that had led here, the gifts that were really tests, the praise that was really poison, the choices that seemed impossible until they were made. My phone lit up one last time, an unknown number. "Hello?" "Savannah," Ryland's voice stripped of its usual polish. "I just wanted you to know, I meant what I said, about your potential. I know you did. That's what made you dangerous. We could have done great things together." "No," I said firmly. "You would have done things through me. There's a difference." A long pause. "You really think you can change things? The system's bigger than any of us." "Maybe, but doing nothing changes nothing." "Careful," he said softly. "That kind of idealism can get expensive. Some things are worth the cost." I started my car. "Goodbye, Rylan." I ended the call before he could respond. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new battles, new attempts to maintain the status quo. But tonight, driving home through the city lights, I felt something I hadn't experienced since finding that first receipt. Peace. Not because the fight was over. It was just beginning. Not because victory was certain. Nothing ever was. But because I'd finally learned the truth about power. It doesn't lie in the ability to manipulate others, but in the courage to stand firm when they try to manipulate you. The Cartier bracelet would help women escape their own toxic situations. Ryland's carefully constructed system was crumbling, and I was exactly where I needed to be. Not a protege or a victim or even a victor, just someone who chose truth over comfort, right over easy, and found herself stronger for it. Sometimes the most valuable gifts are the ones we give ourselves, like the power to say no, the strength to stand alone, and the wisdom to recognize that, in the end, We rarely are.
The laughter hits me first. That particular pitch of forced politeness mixed with judgment that only comes from family. I pause in the doorway of my parents' oversized colonial, gripping the handle of the apple pie I spent 3 hours perfecting this morning. Already, I can feel my carefully applied confidence starting to crack. Inside, the annual Morrison family reunion is in full swing. The familiar scent of my mother's cinnamon potpourri mingles with whatever trendy essential oil my sister Talia is diffusing this week. Voices bounce off the vaulted ceiling, cousins comparing private school choices, aunts trading passive-aggressive compliments about weight loss. "Lindsay, you finally made it." My mother materializes, pristine in her cream cashmere sweater. Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes as she takes in my department store blazer. "We were just talking about you." That should have been my first warning. In our family, being talked about is never a good thing. I follow her into the great room where conversations pause just a beat too long. My sister Talia holds court by the fireplace, radiant in designer white that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She catches my eye with a smirk that makes my stomach clench. "There's my hard-working sister," she trills. "Tell everyone your big news." Heat creeps up my neck. "Oh, it's not official yet, but I'm up for senior account manager at—" "No, tell them what you told me last week. About the executive promotion?" Talia's eyes gleam. I freeze. I never said anything about— The laughter starts soft, then builds. My cousin Jaden won't meet my eyes. Even my father, usually lost in his crossword puzzle, is watching with uncomfortable fascination. "Oh, honey," my mother sighs. "Talia was just having a little fun. You didn't actually think they'd make you an executive, did you? In accounting?" The room spins slightly. "What?" "It was just a joke," Talia says, still wearing that perfect smile. "I told everyone how you've been dropping hints about this huge promotion. I mean, it was pretty obvious you were making it up for attention. We all know that's not really your level." Each word lands like a slap. The pie plate slips in my sweating hands as decades of family dynamics crystallize in one horrible moment. Every achievement I've shared, every milestone I've celebrated, they've all been jokes. I'm the punchline they've been laughing at all along. "Lindsay, dear, don't be dramatic." My mother's voice has that edge that always preceded childhood lectures about disappointment. "We're just trying to help you be realistic about your capabilities." I look around the room at these people who are supposed to love me. Aunt Marie hiding her smirk behind her wine glass. Cousin Derek actually recording this on his phone. My father suddenly very interested in his newspaper again. And Talia, beautiful golden child Talia, basking in my humiliation like it's her personal spotlight. Only Jaden looks sick about it. He starts to stand, probably to defend me, but I can't bear his pity right now. "I have to go," I manage, backing away. "I forgot. I have a meeting." "On Sunday?" Talia's laugh tinkles like breaking glass. See what I mean? She can't even lie convincingly. I flee, their amusement following me down the hallway. In the foyer, I fumble with my coat, desperate to escape before the tears start falling. A text lights up my phone, from Brennan at work. "Found something weird in the quarterly audit. Need to talk ASAP. It's about your sister." The message blurs as I stare at it, my hands shaking. All these years of trying to prove myself, of swallowing their subtle cruelty, of believing if I just worked harder they'd finally see me as worthy. But they never will. Because that's not what this is about, is it? I think of Talia's designer outfit, her perfect marriage, her meteoric rise at her investment firm, the golden daughter who can do no wrong. Except, what was that about the audit? My phone buzzes again. "Seriously, Elle, this is big. Your sister's name is all over some very questionable transactions." The tears dry up as something harder takes their place. If they want to treat my life as a joke, fine. But maybe it's time I started looking more closely at their perfect lives, starting with whatever my sister's been hiding behind that flawless facade. I leave the pie on the hall table. They can choke on it for all I care, because I'm done trying to earn a seat at their table. It's time to flip it over instead. I sit in my car outside my childhood home, watching raindrops distort the porch lights into watery stars. The reunion's still going strong inside. I can see shadows moving behind the bay windows, probably gathering for my mother's traditional family photo. The one she'll post on Facebook with some saccharine caption about blessed family bonds. My phone keeps lighting up with messages from Brennan. Each one makes my hands shake worse than the last. These transactions, someone's cooking the books. Need to meet in person, too sensitive for text. This could be serious fraud. I should drive straight to the office. Instead, I find myself walking through the side gate, drawn to the warm glow of the kitchen window. The familiar path feels different now, like I'm trespassing in my own past. Through the glass, I see my mother arranging desserts on her prized silver tray, probably for the photo op. Even from here, I can tell she's switched out my homemade pie for something store-bought and prettier. The back door's never locked. I slip inside, the kitchen's warmth hitting me like a physical blow after the rain. My mother startles, nearly dropping a crystal bowl of berries. "Lindsay, I thought you'd gone home to whatever meeting you made up." Why do you do that? The words escape before I can stop them. Why do you have to make everything I do sound pathetic? She sighs, that particular exhale that always made me feel 2 inches tall. "Don't start. I won't have you ruining another family gathering with your sensitivity." Another? I laugh, and it sounds strange even to me. When have I ever ruined anything? I'm the one who shows up early to help set up, who remembers everyone's dietary restrictions, who spent 3 hours making a pie you apparently threw away. Store-bought is more reliable. She won't meet my eyes, rearranging cookies with surgical precision. You know how particular Talia's friends are. Talia's friends? Something clicks. This isn't even a family reunion, is it? This is another networking event for her? My mother's silence is answer enough. All those relatives, they're not just family. They're investors, business connections, people Talia needs to impress. And I'm the awkward sister whose very existence threatens her carefully curated image. You could learn from her, you know? My mother's voice goes soft, almost pitying. She understands how to present herself, how to make the right connections, instead of hiding in that dreary accounting department, counting other people's money. The irony of her words hits me like a punch to the gut. If Brennan's right, Talia's been doing a lot more than counting money. "What would you say?" I ask carefully. "If I told you Talia might not be exactly who you think she is?" For the first time, my mother looks directly at me. Something flickers behind her eyes. Fear? Don't. Don't what? Don't try to tear down your sister just because you're jealous. It's beneath you, Lindsay. Or maybe it isn't anymore. The casual cruelty steals my breath. In the living room, I hear Talia's laugh, bright and false as fool's gold. My phone buzzes again, Brennan sending another urgent message about needing to meet. "You're right," I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Maybe it is beneath me. But you know what's really beneath me? Pretending everything's fine while you treat me like some embarrassing family secret. I'm done performing for your approval. I turn to leave, but her words follow me. "If you do anything to hurt your sister's reputation, don't bother coming back." In the hallway, I pause by the family photos lining the wall. Years of carefully staged moments. Talia's graduations, awards, engagement. I'm in some of them, always slightly out of focus, like the camera itself couldn't quite be bothered with me. But there's one. I step closer, squinting at a picture from last Christmas. Behind Talia's perfect smile, her laptop screen is visible. And those numbers. My phone buzzes one final time. "Brennan. Found the smoking gun. Meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m.? I text back a single word. "Yes." Outside, the rain has stopped. Through the front window, I watch my family gather for their photo, arranging themselves around Talia like planets around their sun. My mother was right about one thing. I won't be coming back. Not until I've exposed exactly what kind of star they've been orbiting. I start my car, already planning tomorrow's meeting. They wanted to make my life a joke? Fine. But I've got a feeling nobody will be laughing when this punchline hits. Monday morning hits different when you're about to destroy your sister's life. I arrive at the office an hour early, watching sunrise paint the downtown buildings in shades of gold that remind me too much of Talia's perfect highlight. Brennan's already waiting in the conference room, his usual crisp appearance rumpled like he's been up all night. Spreadsheets cover the table, and his laptop shows complex financial diagrams I barely understand. "You look like hell," I say, setting down coffee for both of us. "Wait till you see this." He pulls up a file. Your sister's firm has been running a sophisticated pump and dump scheme. They're artificially inflating stock values, then selling before the crash. Classic fraud, but the numbers are massive. I lean closer, my accounting brain kicking in despite the emotional storm. And Talia's involved? She's not just involved, she's orchestrating it. He points to a series of transactions. These are her authorization codes. She's been doing this for years, Lindsay. Millions in investor funds just gone. The room spins slightly. I think of all those networking events at my parents' house. All those family friends investing their savings, trusting the golden child who could do no wrong. There's more, Brennan says quietly. Look who some of these investors are. I scan the list, my heart stopping at familiar names. Aunt Marie's retirement fund, Cousin Derek's college savings for his kids, even Jaden's startup capital. They're going to lose everything, I whisper. They already have. These accounts are empty. Your sister's probably planning her exit strategy now. My phone buzzes. Speaking of the devil, a text from Talia. We need to talk. Lunch today? I show Brennan the message. His face goes pale. She knows we're looking into this. Someone must have tipped her off. What do we do? He runs a hand through his disheveled hair. Officially, report it to the SEC, but they'll take months to investigate. By then, she'll be gone with the money. I finish his thought. My family's money. My cousin's children's futures. There might be another way. A new voice makes us both jump. Devin from legal stands in the doorway, holding a manila envelope. Sorry, couldn't help overhearing. I've been tracking similar cases. I've always liked Devin. He has kind eyes and that rare quality of actually listening when people talk. Now those eyes are serious as he spreads photos across the table. Your sister's been meeting with this man. He taps a surveillance photo. He specializes in creating new identities, helping people disappear. My coffee turns to acid in my stomach. When? Last meeting was yesterday, right after your family gathering. The pieces click together with sickening clarity. That's why she orchestrated my humiliation. She needed a distraction, something to keep the family focused on poor, pathetic Lindsay while she prepared her vanishing act. I have a friend at the Journal, Devin says carefully. If we take this to him now, today, it hits the morning edition, before she can run. That would destroy her, I say automatically, years of protective big sister instinct kicking in. She's already destroyed herself, Brennan counters. Question is, are you going to let her destroy everyone else too? My phone buzzes again. Talia. Come on, sis. Important family matter to discuss. Don't make me tell Mom you're being difficult again. The familiar manipulation hits differently now. All those years of subtle undermining, of using our parents' disappointment as a weapon. But this time, she's not just attacking me. She's preparing to rob our entire family blind. Give me your friend's number, I tell Devin. But first I need to have lunch with my sister. They both stare at me. Are you crazy? Brennan hisses. She'll know something's up. Exactly. I gather the evidence into my bag, hands steady despite my racing heart. She thinks I'm still the same pushover she can manipulate. Time to show her how wrong she is. Be careful, Devin warns. People who feel cornered. I know. I manage a smile that feels more like baring teeth. But she forgot something important. She taught me everything I know about wearing masks. I text back, lunch sounds perfect, sis. Can't wait to catch up. The response is immediate. Wonderful. LeBlanc at 1, my treat. Of course it's her treat. She's paying with stolen money after all. I stare at my reflection in the conference room window, practicing Talia's signature everything's perfect smile. Game on, little sister. Let's see who's really been paying attention all these years. LeBlanc's lunch crowd drips old money and corporate power, exactly Talia's scene. I spot her at a corner table, wearing cream silk that probably costs more than my monthly salary. My Target blazer feels like a costume in comparison. Lindsay. She air kisses my cheek, her perfume expensive and suffocating. I ordered us champagne. We're celebrating. I slide into my seat, noting the exits, the security cameras, the witnesses. What are we celebrating? My promotion, of course. Her smile is radiant. I'm being made partner, the youngest in the firm's history. Partner. While her clients' accounts bleed dry, I take a slow sip of champagne, letting the bubbles mask my disgust. Congratulations. When's the announcement? Next week, though. She leans forward, voice dropping conspiratorially. I might not be around for it. Marcus and I are planning an extended vacation. Very extended. My hand tightens on the stem of my glass. Where to? Oh, somewhere without extradition treaties. She laughs like it's a joke. Maybe it would be, if I hadn't seen those documents this morning. Actually, that's what I wanted to discuss. I have a business opportunity for you. The waiter arrives with our salads. Talia orders hers with dressing on the side. Always in control, even of something this small. I need someone I can trust to handle some paperwork while I'm away, she continues once we're alone. Just signing a few things, maintaining some accounts. The compensation would be significant. Understanding hits like a punch to the gut. She's not just running. She's setting me up to take the fall. Why me? I keep my voice neutral, spearing a cherry tomato. Because you're family. Her hand reaches across the table to squeeze mine. And because I know how much you struggle with money, this could change your life. The worst part? 5 years ago, I might have fallen for it. Might have been so desperate for her approval that I'd have signed anything she put in front of me. Like you changed Aunt Marie's life? The words slip out before I can stop them. Or Cousin Derek's? Her smile doesn't waver, but something cold flickers in her eyes. I don't know what you mean. I think you do. I pull out my phone, showing her one of Brennan's spreadsheets. The numbers don't lie, Talia, even if you do. For a moment, her mask cracks. Fear, anger, and something like respect flash across her face. Then the perfect smile returns. Those numbers can be explained. But more importantly, she leans closer, voice honey-sweet. Think carefully about what exposing them would do to our family, to Mom and Dad's reputation, to your career. My career? Who do you think will hire an accountant who turned in her own sister, who betrayed family loyalty? Her laugh tinkles like breaking glass. Besides, who would believe you over me? The sister who's always been, what did Mom call it, oversensitive? Each word lands like a slap, but not for the reasons she thinks. I'm not hurt by the manipulation. I'm angry at myself for not seeing it sooner, for letting her weaponize my insecurities all these years. You're right, I say, standing. Who would believe me? Relief floods her face. I knew you'd understand. Now about those papers. But they might believe him. I nod toward the man entering the restaurant. Zuriel, Devon's journalist contact, right on schedule. He's very interested in understanding exactly how you made partner so young. Talia's face goes white. You didn't. Actually, I did. And that's not all I did. I drop a USB drive on the table. Copies of everything went to the SEC this morning. Turns out being the overlooked sister makes it really easy to gather evidence. No one notices the accountant in the corner, do they? She grabs my arm as I turn to leave, nails digging in. You can't do this. We're family. Funny. I gently remove her hand. That excuse doesn't work on me anymore. Mom and Dad will never forgive you. Maybe not. I meet her eyes, feeling strangely calm, but I forgive myself for every time I let you make me feel small, for every time I chose family loyalty over doing what's right. Zuriel is making his way toward our table, notebook in hand. Talia's perfect composure is crumbling by the second. One more thing, I say, dropping cash for my untouched salad. I'm not oversensitive. I'm just finally done pretending not to see who you really are. I walk out of LeBlanc into bright sunshine, leaving my sister to face the consequences of her actions. My phone is already buzzing with messages. No doubt the family grapevine spreading the news. Let them talk. I'm done being the punchline of their jokes. Time to write my own story. The first headline breaks at 3 p.m. Rising finance star implicated in multi-million-dollar fraud. By 4 p.m., my phone has 37 missed calls. By 5 p.m., I'm sitting in my apartment watching my sister's perfect life unravel on live TV. A knock at my door makes me jump. Lindsay, it's Jaden. Please open up. I consider pretending I'm not home, but his voice carries that same raw edge I remember from childhood fights, when he was the only one who'd stand up for me. He looks exhausted when I open the door, his usually immaculate suit wrinkled. You could have warned me. Would you have believed me? Yes. His immediate response surprises us both. I've never trusted Talia. Not since we were kids, and she blamed you for breaking Grandma's vase. I let him in, watching as he takes in my apartment, the stack of evidence files, the half-empty wine glass, the news playing silently on my laptop. They're saying she's already gone, he says quietly. Private jet to somewhere without extradition. She won't get far. I pull up an email from Devon. The feds froze her accounts an hour ago. That's not what I came to talk about. Jaden sits heavily on my couch. Your parents are destroying themselves. Your mom. I've never seen her like this. The guilt I've been suppressing all day rises like bile. How bad? She collapsed when the reporter showed up. Your dad's with her at the hospital. Stress-induced panic attack. He meets my eyes. They're asking for you. To yell at me, disown me, tell me I've ruined the family name? To understand why their daughter didn't come to them first. The laugh that escapes me sounds bitter even to my own ears. When have they ever listened to me? Really listened, not just waited for their chance to tell me how I'm doing everything wrong? Maybe they're ready to listen now. My phone buzzes. Another news alert. They've found evidence linking Talia to 3 more fraudulent schemes. The amount stolen has doubled. My stomach churns as I read familiar names among the victims. Oh God. I sink onto the couch beside Jaden. Your startup money, I'm so sorry. Don't. He touches my hand gently. You didn't steal it. You tried to save it. But I waited too long. I knew something was wrong for weeks, but I kept doubting myself, thinking maybe I was just jealous like they always said. You exposed the truth. That's what matters. My laptop pings with an incoming email from Talia's personal account sent from an unknown location. My hands shake as I open it. Congratulations, sis. You finally grew a spine. But ask yourself, was it worth it? Mom's in the hospital, Dad's reputation is ruined, and our whole family is being torn apart. All because you couldn't handle being the disappointing daughter. Hope you're proud of yourself. Love, T. Jaden reads over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. Don't let her manipulate you. Not again. But what if she's right? What if I did this out of jealousy or revenge? Does it matter? He turns my chair to face him. The money she stole was real. The lives she ruined were real. Your motives don't change that. Another ping, this time from an unknown number. A video attachment. I click play before I can stop myself. It's security footage from LeBlanc. I watch myself confront Talia, but from this angle I can see something I missed in the moment. As I walk away, her mask completely shatters. For just a second, raw fear and something like regret cross her face. Then she pulls out her phone and makes a call, hands trembling. That was right before she tried to run. Jaden says softly, You did that. You made her face reality, maybe for the first time in her life. My doorbell rings before I can respond. Through the peephole, I see my father standing there, looking older than I've ever seen him. Lindsay, his voice cracks. Please, your mother's asking for you. Jaden squeezes my shoulder. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I look at the paused video, at my sister's moment of truth. Then at the door, behind which waits my chance to either heal or permanently break my family. Okay, I whisper, reaching for the handle. Let's see if they're really ready to listen. Because that's the thing about truth. Once it starts spilling out, you can't choose which parts people hear. You can only hope they're strong enough to handle all of it. The hospital corridor stretches endlessly, my heels clicking against sterile tiles. My father walks slightly ahead, shoulders hunched like he's carrying physical weight. We haven't spoken since leaving my apartment. What is there to say after decades of silence? Room 415. My mother looks small in the hospital bed, her perfect makeup finally stripped away. The machine's steady beeping feels like an accusation. Lindsay, her voice is hoarse. Come to see what you've done? I almost turn around, but Jaden's hand on my back keeps me moving forward. I came because you asked for me. Asked for you? She laughs weakly. I asked for my daughter, not whatever you've become. I'm still your daughter. That's why I had to stop her. Stop her, my father finally speaks. You destroyed her. The police were at our house, Lindsay. Reporters. Our friends won't even take our calls. Because of what Talia did, not me. You could have handled it privately. My mother's fingers twist her blanket. Within the family. Instead, you chose to humiliate us all. Privately? The word tastes bitter. Like how you privately mocked my career, or privately set me up as the family joke. We were trying to protect you. My father's outburst startles us all. You were always so sensitive, so eager to please. Talia was stronger. Stronger? I pull out my phone, bringing up the evidence files. Look at these numbers. Really look. That's Aunt Marie's retirement fund. Empty. Derek's kids' college savings. Gone. Is that strength? They stare at the screen, reality finally cracking their denial. She said she was investing it. My mother's voice shrinks. She promised returns. She lied. She's been lying for years. And you let her, because it was easier than admitting your perfect daughter was a fraud. The machines beep in the silence that follows. Outside, a nurse pushes a cart past, wheels squeaking. Did you know, I say quietly, that she tried to set me up to take the fall? She invited me to lunch today to trick me into signing documents that would have made me legally responsible. My mother closes her eyes. My father sits heavily in the visitor's chair. We didn't, he starts. No, I finish. Or didn't want to know. My phone buzzes. Devin calling. I step into the hallway to answer. They found her. His voice is urgent. Talia, she's holed up at some luxury resort upstate. FBI's moving in tonight. My heart stutters. She'll run again. Not if someone she trusts convinces her to surrender first. Understanding hits. No, I can't. Lindsay, listen. If she runs now, that money's gone forever. But if she turns herself in, makes a deal, she won't listen to me. I'm the enemy now. You're her sister. His voice softens. And you're the only one she knows. She can't manipulate anymore. I look back through the doorway. My parents huddle together, looking lost and old and human. All their illusions shattered in a single day. Text me the address, I hear myself say. Back in the room, my mother reaches for my hand. I let her take it, feeling calluses beneath her expensive manicure. Where are you going? She asks. To finish this, the right way. Lindsay, my father stands. Whatever she did, she's still your sister. I know. I squeeze my mother's hand once before letting go. That's why I have to try one last time to save her. From herself, if nothing else. Jaden appears in the doorway. I'm driving. No. I straighten my blazer, check my phone's battery. I need to do this alone. Then I'll wait here. He looks at my parents. We all will. My mother's voice stops me at the door. Lindsay, I'm sorry for not seeing you. It's not enough. Not yet. But it's a start. I know, Mom. I manage a small smile. Maybe when this is over, we can all try seeing each other a little more clearly. The hospital corridor doesn't seem quite so long on the way out. My phone guides me upstate, where my sister waits with her stolen millions and broken dreams. One last confrontation. One last chance to choose between family loyalty and doing what's right. This time, maybe I can do both. The Lake Grove Resort looms against the darkening sky, all glass and modern angles. My rental car's GPS shows I beat the FBI by 30 minutes. Enough time for one last conversation between sisters. The front desk clerk barely glances at me. I've worn my best Talia impression like armor. All confident smile and entitled attitude. Room 842, your sister's expecting you. Of course she is. She's always been 3 steps ahead. The elevator rises smoothly, carrying me toward what feels like destiny. In my pocket, my phone vibrates with updates from Devin about FBI positions, contingency plans, worst-case scenarios. I silence it. This moment belongs to us alone. Talia opens the door before I knock. She's traded her designer clothes for yoga wear, but her makeup is still perfect. Always camera ready, even now. I wondered when you'd show up. She steps aside, letting me enter the luxurious suite. Drink? The minibar's excellent, though I suppose you're more concerned about who's paying for it. You know why I'm here. To gloat? She pours herself something amber and expensive. To see the mighty fallen? Or did they send you to talk me into surrendering? They don't know I'm here. That gets her attention. She studies me over her glass, really looks at me maybe for the first time in years. Then why are you? Because under all this, I gesture at the wealth surrounding us. You're still my little sister, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. Don't. Her voice cracks slightly. Don't pretend this is about protecting me. You destroyed everything I built. You destroyed it yourself. I just exposed the truth. The truth? She laughs bitterly. The truth is, I was never going to be enough for them either. Not really. Every achievement had to be bigger, more impressive. Every success needed to shine brighter than the last. So you started faking the shine. I made it real. Her glass slams down. The money was real. The influence was real. Everyone won. Investors got their returns. The firm grew, our family's status, until it all fell apart. I stepped closer. How long did you think you could keep juggling? Keep moving money around to hide the holes? Long enough to disappear. She moves to the window, staring out at the gathering darkness. I had it all planned. New identity, new life. I was even going to send money back once I was safe. Make everyone whole again. You really believe that? I had to believe something. Her composure finally shatters. Do you know what it's like, being their perfect child? The golden daughter who can't make mistakes? Who has to succeed no matter what? Actually, I do. I touch her shoulder gently. I watched you carry that weight our whole lives. But Talia, you don't have to anymore. She shrugs off my hand. Easy for you to say. You're the hero now. The whistleblower who exposed the corrupt sister. I'm not a hero. I'm just finally being honest. About you, about them, about myself. I check my phone. 15 minutes left. And now I'm being honest about this. They're coming for you. Soon. Her spine stiffens. I can still run. To where? Another hotel? Another identity? Always looking over your shoulder, never trusting anyone? I move between her and the door. Or you can face this. Make it right. Show them. Show everyone who you really are under all the perfect masks. It's too late. It's not. Not if you choose to stop running. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. Talia's hands shake as she sets down her glass. They'll hate me, she whispers. Maybe, for a while, but we're family. Real family, not the perfect image we pretended to be. I hold out my hand. Let me help you through this. Like I should have helped you before it went this far. She stares at my offered hand. The sirens are very close now. Red and blue lights begin to flash against the windows. I'm scared, she admits, sounding young and vulnerable. I know. Me too. I keep my hand steady. But we can be scared together. For a moment, I think she'll run. I see the impulse flash across her face. Then slowly, she reaches out and takes my hand. Okay, she whispers. Okay. We stand together as footsteps thunder down the hall. In the last seconds before they breach the door, Talia squeezes my hand. I'm sorry, she says, for everything. I know, I squeeze back. Me too. The door bursts open, flooding the room with light and noise. But we don't let go. Not this time. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending to be strong. Sometimes the truest victory is admitting you've lost. And sometimes, just sometimes, sisters can save each other by finally being real. The courtroom feels smaller than I expected. No dramatic high ceilings or imposing architecture, just a plain room where lives change forever. Talia sits at the defendant's table, wearing a simple black dress instead of her usual designer armor. She looks young, vulnerable, real. I'm not supposed to be here for the sentencing. Family members usually wait outside. But when Talia asked me to stay, her lawyer didn't object. Maybe he saw something in our matching stubborn chins, our mirrored way of squaring our shoulders against bad news. The judge shuffles papers, peers over reading glasses. Before pronouncing sentence, does the defendant wish to make a statement? Talia stands. Her hands shake slightly as she unfolds a paper, then stops. Puts it down, looks directly at the victim's section where our family sits. I prepared a speech, she says, about remorse and redemption and making amends. But that would be another performance, wouldn't it? Another perfect role to play. She takes a deep breath. The truth is uglier. I stole from people who trusted me because I was terrified of being ordinary, of disappointing everyone who expected miracles. I hurt people I love because I couldn't admit I was drowning in those expectations. Our mother makes a small sound. I resist the urge to turn around. I can't undo what I did, Talia continues, but I can stop pretending. Stop hiding behind fake success and start doing the hard work of being real. Even if real means being flawed, being wrong, being... Her voice cracks slightly. Being someone who needs help sometimes. The judge nods slowly, pronounces the sentence, 8 years, possibility of parole in 5 with restitution. Less than expected, more than hoped. I watch my sister absorb the news without flinching. Outside, autumn's sun bathes the courthouse steps in golden light. Our parents hover uncertainly until Talia waves them over. Their hug is awkward but genuine. I'll visit, our mother promises, every week. Maybe. Talia glances at me. Maybe we can all visit, together? I'd like that, I say, surprising myself by meaning it. The bailiffs appear to take her away, but before they can, Talia pulls me aside. There's something you need to know, she whispers. Check the hidden folder on my laptop. Password is Thunder Sisters. Remember from when we were kids? There's proof about Marcus. He wasn't just my partner in the firm. My breath catches. He was behind it all? Not all, but enough that he shouldn't get away clean while I take the fall. She smiles grimly. Consider it my last gift as the family overachiever. The bailiffs step closer. Talia straightens her shoulders. Take care of them, she says. And yourself. Especially yourself. I watch them lead her away. This stranger who's somehow both my sister and not my sister anymore. My phone buzzes. Devin, probably with news about the Marcus investigation. But that can wait. Coffee? I ask my parents. I know a place nearby. The cafe is small, nothing like my mother's usual spots. But she doesn't comment on the mismatched mugs or the barista's tattoos. Instead, she asks about my work. Actually asks, not just waits to criticize. I'm proud of you, my father says suddenly, for doing the right thing, even when it hurt. Even when it hurt us, my mother adds quietly. I haven't been fair to you, either of you. No, I agree. But maybe we can all learn to do better. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Jaden. Heard about the sentence, you okay? I look at my parents, really look at them. See the gray in my father's hair, the worry lines around my mother's eyes. See them seeing me. Maybe for the first time. Yes, I text back. I think I am. Because here's the truth about family. Sometimes love means letting the perfect facade crack. Sometimes strength means admitting weakness. And sometimes the biggest joke is thinking we had to pretend to be flawless in the first place. I take another sip of coffee, letting the bitter warmth ground me in this moment. Tomorrow I'll check Talia's laptop, start unraveling Marcus's web, face whatever new challenges come. But right now, in this imperfect cafe with my imperfect family, I'm exactly where I need to be. No masks, no pretense. Just us. Finally learning to see each other clearly. And maybe that's the best promotion of all.
I used to think the worst moment of my life would feel like an explosion. Some dramatic, earth-shattering event that would leave me gasping in the debris. Instead, it was quiet. Just the soft click of my grandmother's antique door handle as I pushed it open, and the rustle of bed sheets that weren't supposed to be moving at 2 in the afternoon. Ian. My voice came out smaller than I intended. Stupid, really. I already knew it was him. I'd recognize the broad slope of his shoulders anywhere. What I didn't recognize was the cascade of honey blonde hair spilling across my pillow, until my sister Allison lifted her head and met my eyes. Time stretched like taffy. I stood frozen in the doorway, my hand still gripping that brass handle, its familiar warmth now burning against my palm. The diamond on my left hand caught the afternoon light, throwing tiny rainbows across the wall, a cruel reminder of promises made just 6 weeks ago. Sophia! Ian started, but I was already backing away. My heel caught the edge of the hallway rug, the one Allison had helped me pick out last month. I stumbled, caught myself against the wall. The frame I hit held our family photo from last Christmas. My sister and I, arms around each other, matching smiles. Lies, all of it. Don't. The word came out raw. Just don't. I ran. Down the stairs, past the living room where we'd spent countless movie nights, through the kitchen where Ian had proposed. Behind me, I heard scrambling, Ian calling my name, but I was already out the front door. The spring air hit my face, too warm, too sweet with blooming cherry blossoms. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably Ian or Allison. I yanked it out, ready to throw it, but Hope's name flashed on the screen. My best friend. The only person I could trust now. Hey, you okay? You're not answering your texts. They're sleeping together. My voice cracked. Hope, I just walked in on them. In my bed, my sister and my fiancé. Silence stretched across the line. Then, I'm coming to get you. Where are you? I looked around, realizing I'd been walking blindly. Parker Street, by the coffee shop. Stay there, 10 minutes. I sank onto a bench, my legs finally giving out. An elderly woman walked past, smiling kindly. She probably thought I was just another young professional taking a break. She couldn't see how my world had imploded, how every memory was being rewritten in cruel new light. All those late nights Allison spent helping with wedding planning. The way Ian insisted we use her as our photographer. The knowing looks they must have shared behind my back. God, how long had this been going on? My phone buzzed again, a text from Allison. We need to talk, it's not what you think. Another buzz. Ian. Please let me explain. I never meant to hurt you. I laughed, a harsh sound that startled a nearby pigeon. The engagement ring felt like it was burning my finger. I tried to pull it off, but my hands were shaking too badly. Hope's blue Subaru screeched to a halt at the curb. She jumped out, still in her detective's badge and blazer, and wrapped me in a fierce hug. I broke then, sobbing into her shoulder like I hadn't since we were kids. I've got you, she murmured. We'll figure this out. I trusted them. My voice was muffled against her jacket. They were the two people I trusted most in the world. I know. Hope's tone hardened. And they're going to regret this. She guided me to her car, but I froze when I saw something on the passenger seat. A cream-colored envelope, elaborate gold lettering visible through the window. What's that? Hope's expression darkened. It came to the station today. I was bringing it to you. I picked up the envelope with numb fingers. The return address was my sister's. Inside was a wedding invitation, dated 3 months from now. The names made my stomach lurch. Allison Cooper and Ian Long request the pleasure of your company. 3 months, I whispered. They're getting married in 3 months. Hope's hand found mine, squeezing hard. What do you want to do? I stared at the invitation, at my sister's name, entwined with my fiancé's in elegant script. The diamond ring on my finger, my grandmother's ring, passed down through generations, caught the light again. The ring Allison had always envied, the one she'd be wearing now. Something cold and hard crystallized in my chest. I want them to pay. Hope studied my face for a long moment. Okay, she said finally. Then let's make them pay. Hope's apartment became my refuge that night. I sat curled on her couch, still in my work clothes, staring at my phone as the messages piled up. 37 from Ian, 23 from Allison. Each notification felt like another twist of the knife. You need to eat something, Hope said, setting a mug of tea in front of me. The steam carried hints of chamomile, but my stomach churned at the thought of consuming anything. I need to understand how long. My voice sounded hollow, even to me. Was it happening when he proposed? When we picked out the venue? When... Don't torture yourself. Hope sat beside me, her detective's instincts clearly warring with her role as best friend. Though, if you want answers, I might have a way. I looked up. What do you mean? Remember that case I worked last year? The one with the corrupt accountant? She leaned forward, lowering her voice despite us being alone. I still have some contacts who are really good at... accessing information. The implication hung in the air. Part of me wanted to refuse, to take the high road, to be better than them. But then my phone buzzed again, and Allison's text preview flashed across the screen. "You're being dramatic. Just let me explain." Dramatic. The word ignited something dark inside me. "Do it." Hope made a call, speaking in clipped, professional tones. I half listened, my mind drifting to all the signs I'd missed. The way Ian always insisted on having guys' nights when Allison was in town. How my sister volunteered to help with his Christmas shopping, coming back hours later with nothing to show for it. A knock at the door startled me from my thoughts. Hope checked the peephole, then opened it to reveal a tall man in a sharp suit. "Prince?" I recognized Allison's ex-boyfriend, though I hadn't seen him since their messy breakup 2 years ago. "Sophia." He nodded, his expression grim. "Hope called. Said you needed to know the truth about Allison." My chest tightened. "What truth?" He pulled out his phone, scrolling through it with precise movements. "I kept everything. The texts, the emails, the photos. I thought about exposing it all when she left me, but..." He shrugged. "I decided to be the bigger person. Now I'm thinking that was a mistake." He handed me the phone. The first image was a hotel receipt from 8 months ago, when Ian was supposedly at a business conference in Chicago. Except this receipt was from the Four Seasons in Boston, where Allison had been for a photography workshop. My hands shook as I scrolled. More receipts, restaurant charges, a jewelry store purchase the day before Ian proposed to me, then text messages between them, stretching back over a year. "There's more," Prince said quietly, "but you might want to brace yourself." The next image made my blood run cold. It was a bank statement showing regular transfers from Ian's account to Allison's, starting 3 months before he proposed. The amounts matched the wedding photography deposits he'd insisted on handling himself. "They were planning this," I whispered. "The whole time they were..." My phone rang, Allison's face lighting up the screen. Without thinking, I answered. Finally, "Look, I know you're upset, but how long?" My voice was ice. "What? How long have you been sleeping with my fiancé, Allison? Was it before or after you helped him pick out my engagement ring? Before or after you convinced me to let you photograph the wedding?" Silence crackled across the line. Then, in that condescending tone she'd perfected since childhood. "It's complicated, Sophia. You wouldn't understand. Ian and I, we have a connection funded by his bank account." The words tasted like poison. "Those deposits must have really helped your photography business, sis." Another pause. When she spoke again, her voice had lost its smoothness. "Who told you about that? Prince? That pathetic..." "Goodbye, Allison." I ended the call and turned to Hope and Prince. "I want everything. Every receipt, every message, every dirty little secret they thought they could hide." Hope's expression was carefully neutral. "What are you planning?" I thought about the wedding invitation, still sitting in Hope's car, about the way Allison had hugged me after Ian proposed, whispering, "I'm so happy for you," while wearing the bracelet he'd bought her the day before. "They want a wedding?" I smiled, and it felt like breaking glass. "Let's give them one they'll never forget." Prince raised an eyebrow. "I'm in. Whatever you need." Hope sighed, but I saw the determination in her eyes. "Just promise me one thing, Sophia. Whatever we do it smart. No impulsive moves." I nodded, my grandmother's ring catching the light one last time before I slipped it off. "Trust me, impulsive is the last thing this will be." The storage unit smelled like dust and forgotten promises. I stood in front of the small safe tucked in the corner, my grandmother's ring heavy in my palm. Inside were the only copies of photos from my parents' wedding, the ones Allison had always coveted, claiming they'd been lost when she moved. "You sure about this?" Hope asked, flashlight beam steady on the safe's dial. "They're in here, along with Mum's jewelry." I twisted the combination, Allison's birthday, because of course that's what our mother had used. She always said she'd keep them safe for me. The safe clicked open. Inside, nestled among velvet pouches and yellowed envelopes, sat a familiar blue folder. My hands trembled as I pulled it out. "Well, that's interesting." Prince's voice made me jump. He stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the fluorescent hallway lights. "Your sister's been busy with more than just Ian." He handed me his phone. On the screen was an email chain between Allison and our family lawyer, dated 3 months ago. My eyes caught phrases like transfer of ownership and family estate. "She's trying to claim Grandma's house." The words came out choked. "But that's supposed to be split between us. Keep reading." I scrolled down, my vision blurring. Allison had been laying groundwork for months, documenting every time I'd shown instability or made concerning decisions. The final email mentioned her upcoming marriage to Ian as proof she could provide a stable family environment for the property. "I'm going to be sick." I sat heavily on a dusty box, the folder of wedding photos clutched to my chest. Hope's hand found my shoulder. "We can use this. If she's trying to manipulate the inheritance..." A shadow moved in the hallway. We all froze. "Hello?" A familiar voice called out. "Is someone in there?" Griffin, my co-worker. The one person at work who'd noticed something was wrong when I stopped wearing my engagement ring. "Sophia." He appeared in the doorway, confusion clear on his face. "What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing," I managed, trying to look casual while Hope subtly moved to block the safe. "I rent the unit next door." His eyes moved from me to Prince to Hope, then to the folder in my hands. "Are you okay? You've seemed off lately. And now this." "I'm fine." The lie tasted bitter. "Just collecting some old photos." "At 9 p.m., with a detective." He gestured to Hope's badge, still visible on her belt. "Look, if you're in trouble..." "She's not," Prince cut in smoothly. "But someone else might be. Someone who's been taking advantage of family connections." Understanding dawned in Griffin's eyes. "This is about your sister, isn't it? And Ian." The sound of their names together made me flinch. Griffin noticed. "Let me help," he said quietly. "Whatever's going on, you don't have to handle it alone." "You don't understand what you're offering," I warned. "This could get messy. I understand enough." He stepped fully into the unit, closing the door behind him. "I understand that 2 people who claimed to love you betrayed you, and I understand that sometimes justice needs a little help." Hope shot me a warning look, but I was already pulling out my phone, showing Griffin the evidence Prince had gathered. His expression darkened as he scrolled. "There's more," I said, opening the folder of wedding photos. "She's trying to steal our inheritance, using her relationship with Ian to prove she's more stable than me." Griffin handed back my phone. "You know what's interesting about financial fraud? It's amazing how many people forget about digital footprints, especially when they're accessing legal documents they shouldn't have." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I work in cybersecurity, Sophia, and if someone were hypothetically trying to access confidential files without authorization..." Hope straightened. "That would be a criminal offense. Only if they get caught." Griffin's smile was sharp. "So, what's the plan?" I looked at the 3 people around me. Hope with her legal knowledge, Prince with his evidence, Griffin with his technical skills. Then I thought of Allison's smug text. "You're being dramatic. The plan," I said, pulling out the wedding invitation, "is to make sure their perfect day has some unexpected guests, starting with the family lawyer." "That's risky," Hope cautioned. "If we move too fast..." My phone buzzed. A text from Adam, my ex. "Heard about Ian. Need to talk. It's important." "Speaking of unexpected guests," Prince muttered. I stared at the message, remembering how things had ended with Adam, messy and unfinished, like a book missing its final chapter. Now he wanted back in the story. "Maybe we need risky," I said, more to myself than the others. Maybe safe is what got me here in the first place. I typed back a single word. "When?" The diner's neon sign cast a sickly blue glow across Adam's face as he slid into the booth across from me. 3 years since our breakup, and he still ordered the same black coffee, still wore that battered leather jacket. "You look good," he said, studying me over the rim of his mug. Considering my fiancé is marrying my sister." The words didn't hurt as much as they had yesterday. Maybe I was going numb. "How did you hear?" Ian called me. Adam's expression darkened. Wanted to explain his side before I found out from someone else, like he was doing me a favor. My stomach clenched. What did he say? That you were unstable, that Allison was just trying to help, and things happened. He reached across the table, his fingers brushing mine. "I know that's bullshit, Sophia. I know you." I pulled my hand back. "Do you? Because last time we were here, you said I was too intense, too focused on what everyone else thought." "I was wrong." His voice dropped. "And I think that's why Ian targeted you, because you care so deeply about family, about doing the right thing. He knew you wouldn't see it coming." Something cold settled in my chest. "What aren't you telling me?" Adam glanced around the nearly empty diner, then pulled out his phone. "Remember Marcus from accounting? He sent me this." The email on his screen was from Ian to the company's HR department, dated 2 months ago. A request for transfer to the Boston office, effective immediately after his wedding. Along with it, a recommendation letter for Allison to take over his current position. "They're not just stealing your life," Adam said quietly. "They're taking your future. That promotion you've been working toward? The one Ian kept saying you were a shoo-in for?" My coffee turned to acid in my stomach. The promotion I'd spent 3 years earning, staying late, taking on extra projects, all while Ian apparently planned to hand it to my sister. "There's more," Adam continued. "Marcus said Ian's been quietly undermining your work for months. Small things, taking credit for your ideas, suggesting you might not be ready for more responsibility." The fluorescent light suddenly felt too bright, the vinyl booth too sticky. "I think I need some air." Outside, the night air was thick with approaching rain. I leaned against the brick wall, trying to steady my breathing, while Adam stood quietly beside me. "Why are you telling me this?" I finally asked. "Why get involved?" "Because I remember how it felt, watching you doubt yourself when we were together. How hard you worked to prove everyone wrong." He turned to face me. "And because I saw what Allison did to Prince, how she played the victim while destroying him professionally." My phone buzzed. A text from Griffin. "Found something in the lawyer's files. You need to see this." "I have to go." I straightened, already reaching for my keys. "Wait." Adam caught my wrist. "Whatever you're planning, and I know you're planning something, be careful. Ian's not just some cheating fiancé. He's methodical. He's been laying groundwork for months. So have I." I met his eyes. "Are you warning me off or offering to help?" "Both. Neither." He ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "Just remember what happened with Marcus when he tried to expose corporate fraud last year." I remembered. Marcus had all the evidence, all the proof. He'd also ended up blacklisted from every major firm in the city. "I'm not Marcus," I said, "and I'm not the same person you broke up with 3 years ago." "No," Adam agreed softly. "You're not. That's what scares me." My phone buzzed again. Hope this time. "Where are you? Griffin found proof of wire fraud." "I have to go," I repeated, already moving toward my car. "Sophia," Adam's voice stopped me. "There's one more thing. The night before Ian proposed to you, he was with Allison. They had dinner with your family lawyer. Something about updating your grandmother's will. The pieces clicked together. The inheritance, the promotion, the careful documentation of my instability. They weren't just planning a wedding. They were systematically dismantling my life." "Thank you," I said, meaning it, "for telling me." "What are you going to do?" I thought about the safe in the storage unit, about Griffin's discovery, about Prince's evidence. "I'm going to show them what happens when you underestimate someone." The first drops of rain hit the pavement as I drove away, leaving Adam in the rearview mirror. My phone lit up with another text, From Ian this time. "We need to talk about the house. Your sister's worried about your state of mind." I smiled, and it felt like war. "Oh, we'll talk," I whispered to the empty car, "but not until I'm ready." Griffin's apartment looked like a command center from a heist movie. Laptops surrounded him on the coffee table, screens filled with financial records and email chains. Hope paced behind the couch, her detective's mind clearly racing. "It's worse than we thought," Griffin said as I shrugged off my rain-soaked jacket. "The wire transfers? They're just the beginning." He turned one laptop toward me. The document displayed was a trust agreement, my grandmother's elegant signature at the bottom. Except, that's not her signature. I leaned closer, stomach churning. The G is wrong, she always looped it twice. Exactly. Hope stopped pacing. And guess who notarized it? "The family lawyer," I whispered, remembering Adam's words about that dinner before Ian's proposal. 3 days before your grandmother passed, Griffin confirmed, when she was in the hospital, barely conscious. The implications hit me like a physical blow. I sank onto the couch, the room spinning slightly. They forged her signature. They waited until she couldn't fight back, and they just... There's more. Prince emerged from the kitchen, his usual polish cracked by obvious anger. "Show her the emails, Griffin." Another screen. Another betrayal. Emails between Allison and Ian, dating back to before I'd even met him. They'd planned everything. How he would accidentally meet me at the charity gala. How he'd pursue me while keeping Allison in the background. I was never anything but a stepping stone. The words tasted like ashes. A way to get the inheritance, the house, the job. "You were the golden child," Prince said quietly. "The one your parents trusted with the family business. The one your grandmother chose. Allison couldn't stand it." My phone lit up, Allison's face on the screen. Without thinking, I answered. Finally decided to be reasonable. Her voice dripped honey-sweet concern. "Ian and I are worried about you, hiding away like this. It's not healthy. Like forging a dying woman's signature?" The line went dead silent. "Or maybe like planning to steal her granddaughter's life." "Who?" She caught herself. "I don't know what you're talking about. You're obviously having some kind of breakdown." "Stop." My voice shook with rage. "Just stop. I have the emails, Allison. The trust agreement. Everything." A pause, then her tone changed completely. "What do you want?" "Excuse me?" "To keep quiet. What's your price?" Clinical, calculating. The sister I never truly knew. "Name it. Ian and I can..." "Can what? Pay me off with the money you stole?" I laughed, and it sounded strange even to my ears. "You really don't know me at all, do you?" "Don't be stupid, Sophia. Think about Mom and Dad. Think about the scandal. Goodbye, Allison." I ended the call and looked up to find 3 pairs of eyes watching me intently. "She'll come after you now," Hope warned. "They both will. No more playing nice." "Good." I stood, walking to Griffin's evidence wall. Photos, documents, timelines all connected with red string. Because I'm done playing nice too. My phone buzzed again. A text from Adam. "Ian's looking for your grandmother's ring. Says it's a family emergency." "They're getting desperate," Prince observed, reading over my shoulder. "That's when people make mistakes. Or when they get dangerous," Hope countered. "We need to be smart about this." Griffin cleared his throat. "Actually, I might have an idea, but..." He hesitated. "You're not going to like it." "Try me." "The wedding's at the Grand Hotel, right? Where you work events sometimes." At my nod, he continued. "Well, what if we didn't just expose them? What if we let them think they've won first?" Understanding dawned. "You want me to play along? Just long enough to get everything in place. The hotel's security system, the guest list, the timing." He gestured to his screens. "We could turn their perfect day into the moment everything falls apart." "It's risky," Hope said. "If they suspect anything." "They won't." I walked to the window, watching rain streak the glass. "Because they think they know exactly who I am. The good sister, the reliable one, the one who always takes the high road." My phone lit up one more time. an email from the family lawyer, requesting an urgent meeting to discuss concerning behavior. Right on cue. I turned back to my unlikely allies, the detective, the ex, the tech expert, each bringing pieces of the puzzle together. The wedding's in 8 weeks, I said. Let's make them count. Prince raised an eyebrow. You sure about this? Once we start, they took everything from me. I picked up my grandmother's ring from my pocket, holding it to the light. Now I'm going to take everything from them, starting with their perfect day. The rain pounded harder against the windows, nature's applause for the storm to come. The bridal boutique's bell chimed as I entered, and my sister's face lit up with calculated joy. You came! Allison rushed forward, arms open. I let her hug me, feeling like a spy behind enemy lines. Of course. I forced a smile, remembering Griffin's coaching. You're still my sister. The boutique owner cooed at our reconciliation, while Hope watched silently from a corner, playing her role as the supportive friend. We'd planned this carefully, my apparent breakdown, followed by a tearful phone call accepting Allison's invitation to her final fitting. The dress is perfect, Allison gushed, twirling in layers of white silk. Ian's going to lose his mind. Not the only thing he's going to lose, I thought, but kept my expression neutral. It's beautiful. Speaking of Ian, Allison's voice turned hesitant. He really wants to talk to you. Clear the air before the wedding. I don't know if I'm ready. The tremor in my voice wasn't entirely acting. Please? She grabbed my hands, and for a moment I saw the sister I'd grown up with, the one I'd trusted with everything. Just coffee? Tomorrow morning at Marcel's? From the corner, Hope gave an imperceptible nod. Marcel's was perfect, public enough to be safe, close enough to Griffin's surveillance setup. Okay, I whispered. Tomorrow. Allison beamed, turning back to the mirror. You know, it's funny. I always thought you'd be the first to get married. You were always so conventional. The word hit like a slap. In the mirror's reflection, I saw Hope tense. But life's surprising, isn't it? Allison continued, adjusting her veil. Sometimes the person you think is perfect for someone else turns out to be perfect for you instead. My nails dug into my palms. How long? How long were you in love with him? Allison's hand stilled on the veil. Our eyes met in the mirror. Always, she said softly, since the night you introduced us. But he was with you, and I tried to be happy for you both. I really did. Liar. The word slipped out before I could stop it. She spun to face me, silk rustling. Excuse me? I saw the emails, Allison. From before I met Ian, you planned everything. The boutique owner disappeared into the back room, sensing the tension. Hope moved closer, ready to intervene. You weren't supposed to find those. Allison's voice turned cold. You're really making this harder than it needs to be, like you made it hard for Prince, destroying his career when he caught on to your games. Prince was a mistake. He didn't understand what Ian and I have. She stepped closer, dropping her voice. Just like you don't understand that sometimes love means taking what you want, whatever it costs. Even if it costs your sister everything? Oh, Sophia. She touched my cheek, a parody of sisterly affection. You'll bounce back. You always do. The reliable one, remember. But if you keep pushing... Her nail dug in slightly. Well, the family's already worried about your mental state. It would be a shame if your work found out about your episodes. My phone buzzed. A text from Griffin. Got it all, audio and video. I stepped back, letting out a shaky breath. You really think you've won, don't you? Haven't I? She turned back to the mirror, adjusting her perfect dress. I get Ian, the house, the promotion. You get... What? Some moral high ground. That's always been your problem, Sophia. You play by the rules and wonder why you lose. Hope's hand found my shoulder, steadying me. Another text lit up my phone. From Ian. Can't wait to talk tomorrow. There's so much you need to understand. You're right, I said, watching Allison preen. I did always play by the rules. She smiled smugly. But rules can change. I walked out of the boutique, Hope close behind. In the car, she finally spoke. You okay? No. I pulled out my phone, dialing Griffin. But I will be. Did you get what we needed? Every word. His voice crackled through the speaker, including the threat. Prince is already working on the video edit. Good. I stared at the boutique's facade, at Alison visible through the window in her perfect white dress. Because tomorrow's coffee with Ian, that's our last piece. You sure you can handle it? Hope asked, being face to face with him. I thought of Alison's words. Sometimes love means taking what you want, whatever it costs. Watch me. I started the car, leaving my sister's reflection behind. By this time tomorrow, they'll wish they'd never underestimated the reliable one. My phone lit up one last time. A message from Adam. Ian's getting nervous, making calls about moving up the wedding date. Let him try, I muttered, pressing the accelerator. The trap's already set. And tomorrow, it would snap shut. Marcel's morning crowd parted like water as I walked in, though maybe that was just in my head. Ian sat at our old table by the window, 2 coffees already waiting. He'd ordered mine with almond milk, a detail that once would have made my heart flutter. You look beautiful, he said as I sat down, the same soft tone he'd used when he proposed. Don't. I wrapped my hands around the coffee cup, letting its warmth ground me. Through the window, I glimpsed Hope's car across the street, Griffin's surveillance van 2 spaces down. I know you're angry. Ian leaned forward, his cologne achingly familiar. But what Alison and I have, it's real, Sophia. Sometimes the heart wants... My grandmother's ring. I kept my voice steady. Where is it? He blinked, thrown off script. What? The ring you proposed with. The one that disappeared from my jewelry box the day after I caught you together. I met his eyes. The family heirloom you're planning to give my sister. That's not... He glanced around, lowering his voice. Look, your grandmother would have wanted... Don't you dare. My cup rattled against the saucer. Don't you dare tell me what she would have wanted. You're not thinking clearly. His hand reached for mine. I pulled back. Alison and I are worried about you. These accusations, these paranoid theories. Like the theory that you've been embezzling company funds. I pulled out my phone, sliding it across the table. Or that you forged my grandmother's signature while she was dying. His face went still. Behind him, through the window, I saw Prince's car pull up right on schedule. Where did you get those documents? Does it matter? I took a sip of coffee, channeling Alison's casual cruelty. What matters is where they're going. The board of directors, the family lawyer, the police. You're bluffing. But his hands weren't quite steady as he pushed my phone back. You wouldn't risk hurting your sister like that. My sister? I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make nearby customers turn. You mean the one who helped you steal my promotion? Who's been documenting my mental instability to steal my inheritance? Colour drained from his face. How did you... I know everything, Ian. I stood up, my chair scraping back. Every email, every transfer, every little plan you two made while pretending to love me. Sophia, wait. He grabbed my wrist. We can figure this out. Whatever you want. The cafe door chimed. Alison burst in, face flushed. What did you do? She demanded, waving her phone. The lawyer just called. The trust agreement, the company records. They're investigating everything. Other customers were definitely staring now. Through the window, I saw Hope step out of her car, Prince and Griffin flanking her. You promised to handle this, Alison hissed at Ian. You said she was too naive to... Naive? I twisted free of Ian's grip. Like I was naive when you helped me plan my wedding. Or when you consoled me after Mom died, all while forging documents in her office. Keep your voice down, Ian warned, standing. Why? Worried someone might hear the truth? About the fraud, the forgery, the... Enough! Alison's hand shot out, knocking over my coffee. Hot liquid splashed across the table. You want to play hardball? Fine. Let's talk about your little breakdown last year. The medications, the... The fake medical records you planted. Hope's voice cut through the chaos as she entered, badge visible. Those are interesting reading, especially the part where the doctor's signature doesn't match any licensed physician in the state. Allison's face went white. Ian started to move, but Prince and Griffin were already there, blocking the exits. You can't prove anything, Ian said, but his voice shook. I pulled out my grandmother's ring, the real one, not the replica they'd stolen. Actually, we can prove everything, starting with this. Where did you... Allison's eyes widened as understanding hit. The safe. You found Mum's safe, and everything in it. I turned to the growing crowd of onlookers, raising my voice. Would anyone like to hear a story about two people who thought love justified fraud, theft, and betraying family? You're making a mistake, Ian tried one last time. Think about your career, your reputation. My reputation? I stepped closer, close enough to smell his fear beneath the expensive cologne. My reputation is about to be the least of your concerns. The cafe door chimed one final time. The family lawyer walked in, followed by two police officers and a man I recognized from the company's board of directors. Perfect timing, I said, smiling at my sister's shocked face. I believe you all have some questions for these two. As the officers moved forward, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the window. I didn't look naive anymore. I didn't look reliable. I looked free. The Grand Hotel's ballroom sparkled with the decorations meant for my sister's perfect day. I stood in the doorway, watching the police photograph evidence instead of wedding flowers, cataloguing crimes where vows should have been exchanged. You okay? Hope appeared beside me, her detective's notepad full of statements. Better than okay. I touched my grandmother's ring, now back on my hand where it belonged. Just thinking about how different this room was supposed to look today. Ms. Cooper, a forensic accountant waved me over to where Ian's laptop lay open. We found something interesting in the deleted files. I walked over, my heels clicking on marble that should have carried my sister down the aisle. The screen showed a familiar document, my grandmother's will, but this version was different from both the real one and the forged one. Look at the date, the accountant said. This draft was created before your grandmother's illness. My breath caught. The will left everything to Allison, but it was in my grandmother's actual handwriting. I don't understand. She changed her mind, a voice said behind me. I turned to find Adam, holding a stack of letters. Found these in Ian's office safe. They're from your grandmother to Allison. I took the letters with trembling hands. The most recent was dated just before her illness. My dearest Allison, I know this will hurt you, but I've decided to change the will. Sophia has shown the judgment and compassion needed to manage the family's legacy. I hope someday you'll understand. She knew. The words tasted bitter. She knew Grandma had chosen me, so she and Ian decided to take what they thought she deserved, Hope finished, by any means necessary. A commotion at the doorway drew our attention. Prince entered, looking grimmer than usual. You need to hear this. He played an audio file on his phone. Allison's voice, crystal clear. Ian, you idiot, she was never supposed to find the original will. That's why we... No, listen to me. If she figures out what really happened during Grandma's last week, when we... The recording cut off, but the implication hung heavy in the air. Are you saying they... I couldn't finish the sentence. The hospital's reopening the investigation into your grandmother's death, Hope said quietly. There were irregularities in her care during those final days. The ballroom spun slightly. Griffin appeared at my elbow, steadying me. There's more, he said. The company audit found evidence of long-term fraud. Not just Ian, other executives too. They're saying you exposed a whole network. I walked to the window, looking out at the garden where the reception should have been, where Allison and Ian would have danced their first dance as husband and wife if today had gone according to their plan. Ms. Cooper? The forensic accountant called again. There's something else you should see. But before I could move, the ballroom doors burst open. Allison stood there, still in custody, but allowed this final visit to gather personal items. Our eyes met across the room that should have been her triumph. "Are you happy now?" she spat. "You've ruined everything." "No, Allison." I crossed the marble floor slowly, each step deliberate. "You ruined everything. The moment you decided love meant destroying anyone in your way. She was supposed to choose me." Tears streaked her makeup. "I was the oldest, the one who sacrificed everything for this family. But she chose you. She always chose you. And you chose revenge." I stopped in front of her, close enough to see the sister I'd lost beneath the stranger she'd become. "Was it worth it?" She laughed, a broken sound. "You tell me, little sister. Was your revenge worth it?" I thought about the months of planning, the nights spent building evidence instead of crying, the strength I'd found in my anger. This wasn't revenge, Allison. This was justice. For Grandma. For everyone you and Ian hurt. "Justice," she echoed mockingly. "Keep telling yourself that." The officers moved to lead her away. At the door, she turned back one last time. "You know what's funny? In the end, you became exactly what you hated, someone who'd do anything to win." I watched her disappear down the hallway, her words echoing in the empty ballroom. Around me, evidence was being bagged, statements taken, a criminal empire dismantled on what should have been its day of celebration. "She's wrong," Hope said, joining me. "You're nothing like them." I touched my grandmother's ring again, feeling its weight, not as a burden now, but as a reminder. "No," I said softly. "I'm something they never expected me to be. I'm free."
The crystal champagne flute trembles in my hand as I force myself to smile. Around me, the private dining room of Le Petit Jardin sparkles with old money and older grudges, but I'm focused on the birthday card that just shattered my world. The one that says "Gold Digger" in elegant gold foil script. "A toast to our dear Lucille," my mother-in-law Thea announces, rising from her chair like a cobra preparing to strike. "Who has brightened our lives these past 5 years." The pause is deliberate, designed to draw blood. I catch Forrest's eye across the table, silently pleading for him to say something, anything. My husband just gives me that helpless half-smile I've grown to hate. The one that says, "Just let Mom have her moment. Keep the peace." The card sits between us like a landmine. I'd opened it moments ago, thinking it was just another birthday wish. Now my fingers itch to throw it in Thea's perfectly made-up face. Instead, I grip my champagne tighter and maintain my mask. 5 years of marriage have taught me the art of swallowing rage with a smile. "To think," Thea continues, swirling her champagne, "how far you've come from that little apartment above your mother's flower shop. Why, I remember when Forrest first brought you home." She trails off, letting the implication hang heavy in the air. Graham, my brother-in-law, snickers into his whiskey. His wife shoots me a look of manufactured sympathy that makes my skin crawl. The crystal chandelier catches the light, throwing shadows across faces I once thought would become family. "To Lucille," Thea concludes, raising her glass, "may you continue to appreciate everything our family has given you." The others echo the toast. I lift my glass mechanically, muscle memory from countless society functions where I've played the grateful daughter-in-law, but something inside me has finally snapped. "Actually," I hear myself say, my voice steady despite the thunder of my heartbeat, "I'd like to make a toast of my own." Forrest's eyes widen in warning. "We don't challenge Thea. That's the unspoken rule that's kept our marriage intact. But I'm done playing by their rules." I stand, smoothing my silk dress, bought with my own money from my thriving business, though they'll never acknowledge that. "To family," I say, letting my gaze sweep the table. "To those who judge worth by bank accounts instead of character. To birthday cards that say what we're all thinking." I hold up the offensive card. Thea's smile doesn't waver, but her knuckles whiten around her glass. Graham stops snickering. "To better tomorrows," I finish softly, and drain my champagne in one swallow. The silence that follows is absolute. Even the waiters hovering at the edges of the room seem to hold their breath. Forrest stares at his plate, like it holds the secrets of the universe. "Well," Thea finally says, her voice arctic. I see someone's had a bit too much champagne. Forrest, darling, perhaps you should take your wife home. I'll call the car, Forrest mumbles, already reaching for his phone. Always ready to smooth things over, to pack away the ugly truth behind polite veneers. But as I gather my things, letting him guide me toward the door, with an apologetic hand on my back, I'm already planning. The card burns in my clutch, like a match waiting to start a fire. They think I'm just the gold digger who trapped their golden boy. They have no idea what I'm capable of. I'm sorry about Mom, Forrest whispers, as we wait for the valet. You know how she gets at these things. I turn to look at him, really look at him. And for the first time, I see him clearly. The weak chin he hides behind his carefully trimmed beard. The way he shifts his weight when uncomfortable, like a child expecting punishment. Don't worry about it, I say, patting his arm. My voice is honey sweet, masking the venom underneath. Everything's going to be different now. He relaxes, missing the steel in my words. But as our car pulls up to the curb, I'm already composing a message to Palmer in my head. It's time to remind this family that the flowers they look down on have thorns. My phone buzzes with a text from Thea. I hope you'll be more gracious at next week's charity gala. We all have reputations to maintain. I smile at the screen, thinking of the secrets Palmer hinted at months ago. About Graham's dealings, about the family's carefully hidden past. Of course, I type back. I wouldn't miss it for the world. The bonfire devours my wedding photos, curling their edges into ash. I watch Forrest's smiling face blacken and disappear into the flames, remembering how young we both looked, how naive I was, thinking love could bridge the chasm between our worlds. You shouldn't be burning things alone at midnight, Forrest calls from the patio door. The neighbors will talk. I don't turn around. Heaven forbid we give your mother more ammunition. He sighs, that familiar sound of resignation that used to make me try harder to please him. Now it just feeds the anger simmering in my chest. The fire pops and crackles, sending sparks dancing into the night sky. About tonight, he starts, moving closer. Mom was out of line with that card. I'll talk to her. Like you talked to her about the welcome to the family dinner where she served food I was allergic to. I toss another photo into the flames. Or when she told everyone at the country club I was pregnant, knowing we'd been struggling to conceive. Lucy, please, don't call me that. I whirl to face him. Your mother uses that name when she's trying to make me sound young and stupid. I'm Lucille. The firelight catches the confusion on his face. Even now he doesn't see it, doesn't understand how every slight, every calculated insult has been slowly killing the woman he married. I just want peace, he says softly. Is that so wrong? Peace, I laugh, the sound sharp enough to make him flinch. You want me to keep swallowing poison with a smile. That's not peace, Forrest. That's surrender. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Probably Ivy checking on me after my cryptic text earlier. Instead, I see Palmer's name on the screen. My heart kicks against my ribs as I remember our last conversation, the hints he dropped about Graham's business dealings. I need some time alone, I tell Forrest, already moving toward the house. Don't wait up. He doesn't try to stop me. He never does. In my home office, I lock the door and dial Palmer's number. Each ring stretches my nerves tighter until I was wondering when you'd call. Palmer's voice is smooth as aged whiskey. Heard about the birthday dinner. Thea always did have a flair for cruelty. You worked for them for 20 years, I say, sinking into my chair. You must have seen it all. More than they realize. There's a pause, the sound of ice clinking against glass. But information isn't free, Lucille. What exactly are you looking for? I think of the gold digger card, of Thea's smirking toast, of Forrest's endless excuses. Everything, every skeleton, every dirty secret, every weakness. I want to know what makes them afraid. Dangerous territory, but I hear the interest in his voice. Graham's been asking about you, you know, wondering if you've seen certain documents. My pulse quickens. What documents? Meet me tomorrow at the Blue Room, noon. Come alone. The line goes dead. I sit in the darkness, my mind racing. Graham's been watching me. The same Graham who laughed at Thea's jokes about my background, who tried to convince Forrest I was after the family fortune. My phone buzzes again. Ivy this time. Her message makes my blood freeze. Need to talk. Found something in the business accounts. Something bad. The cursor blinks as I try to respond. Ivy and I built our consulting firm from nothing, proving everyone wrong about those silly girls playing at business. She's my best friend, my partner, my anchor when the Addams family storms get rough. But what she found, could it be connected to what Palmer knows? To Graham's sudden interest? A soft knock at my door makes me jump. Lucille, Forrest's voice is muffled. Mom called. She wants to apologize, says she has a peace offering. I stare at my reflection in the dark window, seeing the ghost of that hopeful bride from the burning photos. The woman who thought she could earn their respect, their love. What a fool she was. Tell her I'll think about it, I call back, already knowing my answer. But Thea's peace offerings always come with strings, and I need her to think I'm still dancing to her tune. I text Ivy back, meeting tomorrow, don't show anyone what you found. Then I open my laptop and pull up the file I've been building for months, the one labeled Family History. Palmer's not the only one who's been collecting secrets. Tomorrow I'll start pulling threads, and this carefully constructed facade of family loyalty will unravel one strand at a time. My phone lights up with Thea's number. I let it ring, watching the flames through my window as they consume the last of my wedding photos. Autumn leaves skitter across the pavement as I wait for Ivy outside our office. The morning air bites at my cheeks, but the chill isn't what's making me shiver. Palmer's revelations at the Blue Room still echo in my head, making my carefully laid plans feel suddenly fragile. You look like you've seen a ghost, Ivy says, appearing beside me with 2 coffee cups. She hands me one, studying my face with the focused concern that's gotten me through countless crises. Spill. I glance around the empty street. Not here, inside. In our office, surrounded by the business we built together, I should feel safer. Instead, the familiar space feels exposed. I check my phone. 3 missed calls from Forrest, 1 text from Palmer. Graham's moving faster than expected. Watch your back. Okay. Ivy sets down her coffee. What did you find in the accounts that scared you? It's not what I found. I pull out the USB drive Palmer gave me. It's what Graham's been hiding. The family's been laundering money through shell companies, Ivy. And some of those transactions, I swallow hard. They've been running through our firm. Her face goes pale. That's impossible. I check every client, every transaction. Graham's good at hiding things. I plug in the drive, pulling up documents that make my stomach turn. He's been using our reputation as cover. That's why he pushed so hard to get us that contract with Addams Industries. Son of a bitch. Ivy's hands shake as she scrolls through the evidence. This could destroy everything we've built. Why didn't you tell me sooner? The hurt in her voice cuts deep. I needed proof first, and I hesitate. I needed to know you weren't involved. She recoils like I've slapped her. You thought I might be working with them. Thea's been getting to everyone lately, making offers, dropping hints about expanding the business. The words taste bitter. I didn't know who to trust. You should have trusted me. Ivy stands, pacing our small conference room. We built this company on transparency, Lucille, on being better than the corporate sharks who tried to eat us alive. I know. Guilt mingles with the anger that's been my constant companion. But this is my chance to finally fight back, to show them they can't. This isn't just about your vendetta anymore. Ivy spins to face me. This is our company, our employees' livelihoods. What happens to them when this blows up? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. Graham's name flashes on the screen. Don't, Ivy warns, but I'm already answering. Hello, sister dear. His voice oozes false warmth. We missed you at breakfast this morning. Mother was quite concerned. I'm sure she was. I keep my voice neutral, meeting Ivy's worried gaze. I've been busy with work. Yes, work. He chuckles. Funny thing about that, I was just reviewing some contracts and noticed some irregularities. Perhaps we should discuss them over dinner. My heart pounds, but years of dealing with Thea have taught me to keep my voice steady. Actually, I'm meeting Palmer for dinner. He's been quite helpful lately. The silence that follows tells me the shot landed. Palmer, Graham finally says, all pretense of warmth gone. I wouldn't trust everything our former CFO says. He left the company under complicated circumstances. Didn't we all? I hang up before he can respond. Ivy grabs my arm. Palmer, the same Palmer who was fired for embezzlement accusations 3 years ago. The accusations were false. I pull away. Graham set him up because Palmer knew too much, just like they're trying to set us up now. Or he's playing you. Ivy's voice softens. Lucille, I know you want justice, but Palmer's not exactly a reliable ally. She's right, and that terrifies me. But the weight of the gold digger card, of every dismissive look and cutting remark, presses down on my chest. I have to do something. Ivy corrects, squeezing my hand. We have to do something, but we do it smart, and we do it clean. No more secrets between us. I nod, throat tight with emotion I can't afford right now. My phone buzzes again. A text from Palmer. Graham's called an emergency board meeting. Tomorrow morning. What do we do? I whisper, hating how vulnerable I sound. Ivy's jaw sets in that familiar way that means she's shifting into battle mode. First, we protect our people. Then, she pulls up our client list. We start digging. If Graham's been using our firm, there have to be traces. I watch her work, feeling the ground shift under my feet. This isn't just about my revenge anymore. It's about protecting what we've built, what we've earned. And suddenly, I'm terrified that in my quest to destroy the Addams family, I might destroy everything else I love too. My phone lights up with another text, from Thea this time. Family dinner tonight, non-negotiable. We need to discuss your future with the company. The threat isn't even subtle anymore. The bar's dim lighting can't hide Graham's smirk as he slides into the booth across from me. My fingers tighten around my glass, but I keep my face neutral. 5 hours until Thea's mandatory family dinner, and here I am playing chess with her favorite snake. I have to admit, Graham says, loosening his tie, I didn't expect you to suggest meeting. Finally ready to be reasonable. Reasonable? Ice cubes clink as I set down my drink. Like how you were reasonable when you funneled money through my company. His smirk doesn't waver, but something flickers in his eyes. Careful, Lucille. Accusations like that could be problematic, especially coming from someone with your background. My background. I lean forward. You mean the one where I built a successful business while you rode Daddy's coattails? That hits home. Graham's mask slips for a moment, revealing the rage beneath. You really want to play this game? Because I can make one phone call and your precious company will what? I pull out my phone, sliding it across the table. On the screen is an email from Palmer, containing documents that make Graham's face go pale. Interesting reading, isn't it? Amazing what people keep in their private servers. Palmer, he spits the name like poison. That drunk couldn't find the proof that you set him up, that you've been embezzling for years. I smile, channeling Thea's Arctic sweetness. He did, and now I have it too. Graham's hand shoots across the table, grabbing my wrist. You have no idea what you're dealing with. This isn't just about money. Let go. Each word is ice. Everything okay here? We both look up to see Ivy standing at our table, her expression deadly calm. Graham releases my wrist, adjusting his cuffs with forced casualness. Just a family discussion, he says smoothly. Nothing to worry about. Really? Ivy slides into the booth next to me, because it looked like assault to me, and I'm sure the security cameras would agree. My wrist throbs where he grabbed me, but the pain is worth it to see him squirm. We're done here, I tell him. See you at dinner. He stands, straightening his jacket. Think carefully about your next move, Lucille. Some games you can't win. After he leaves, Ivy examines my wrist. That's going to bruise. We should file a report. No, I pull my sleeve down. Not yet. I need him scared, but not desperate. What he said about it not being just about money. Ivy hesitates. I found something else, about your mother's flower shop. My heart stops. What about it? She pulls out her tablet, showing me property records from 5 years ago. The fire that destroyed it, it wasn't an accident. The insurance investigator was paid off by Adams Industries. The world tilts sideways. That fire had destroyed everything my mother built. She died 6 months later, they said, from pneumonia. But I'd always known it was heartbreak. My voice cracks. They knew I was dating Forrest. They knew what that shop meant to us. There's more. Ivy's voice is gentle. The property was bought through a shell company, one registered to Thea. The truth hits like a physical blow. They hadn't just looked down on my background. They'd actively destroyed it, created the very circumstances they now sneered at. My phone buzzes. Palmer, don't go to dinner. Thea knows about our meetings. Another text follows immediately. But if you do go, check behind the painting in the dining room, the one of their father. Trust me. I have to go to that dinner, I tell Ivy, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. It's a trap. She grabs my hand. Graham's warning, Palmer's message, they're closing in. We need to be smart about this. I am being smart. I squeeze her hand back. I'm going to sit at that table and smile and let them think they've won. And then, I think of my mother's shop, of the dreams that went up in smoke, of every condescending comment about my humble beginnings, from the people who engineered my family's destruction. Then I'm going to burn their world down. I stand, gathering my things. But first, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Get me everything you can on Thea's first marriage, the one no one talks about. Ivy's eyes widen. How did you? Palmer mentioned it, said there's a reason she changed her name back to Adams so quickly. I check my watch. 3 hours until dinner. I'm betting that reason is worth knowing. As I leave the bar, my phone lights up with a text from Forrest. Mom's worried about you. Please don't make things difficult tonight. I almost laugh. Difficult doesn't begin to cover what tonight will be. Behind the painting, Palmer said, whatever's there, it's time to find out exactly what kind of family I married into. Rain drums against my windshield as I sit in the Adams estate driveway, watching shadows move behind the dining room curtains. The painting Palmer mentioned feels like a bomb waiting to detonate. My phone buzzes with Ivy's latest update. Records show Thea's first husband died under suspicious circumstances. Insurance payout was massive. I close my eyes, remembering my mother's voice. Sometimes the price of revenge is your own peace, Lucy. But I lost my peace the day they burned down her shop. The front door opens before I reach it, revealing Thea in a perfectly tailored black dress. Darling, she says, air-kissing my cheek. We were beginning to worry. The house smells like roses, her signature touch. Every surface gleams with old money and careful curation, including me, I realize. The perfect daughter-in-law acquisition. Sorry I'm late, I say, letting her take my coat. Work emergency. Yes, we heard about the irregularities Graham discovered. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Such a shame when these things happen. In the dining room, Forrest stands by the fireplace, drink in hand. The painting looms above him, their father stern and watchful even in oils. What secrets are you hiding? Lucille. Forrest moves to kiss me, but I turn my head so his lips catch my cheek. His aftershave can't quite mask the whiskey on his breath. Where's Graham? I ask, noting the empty place setting. Emergency board meeting. Thea gestures for me to sit. Just the three of us tonight. More intimate that way. My phone vibrates in my clutch. Probably Ivy with more dirt on Thea's past. But before I can check, Thea speaks again. I think it's time we had an honest conversation. She pours wine with practiced grace. About your future with this family. My future? I take a careful sip. I wasn't aware that was in question. Everything's in question lately, dear. Her voice hardens slightly. Your meetings with Palmer, your investigation into family matters. even your company's stability. Forrest shifts uncomfortably. Mom, maybe we should be quiet, darling. Thea doesn't even look at him. The grown-ups are talking. The dismissal hits him like a slap, and suddenly I see him clearly. Not just the weak husband, but the damaged son. How many times had Thea silenced him like this? I have a proposition, Thea continues, one that could solve everyone's problems. Sign over controlling interest in your company to Graham. In exchange, certain indiscretions will be forgotten. My laugh surprises even me. You really don't know me at all, do you? I know you're smart enough to recognize when you're beaten. She slides a folder across the table. These documents show your company's involvement in money laundering. Sign now, or they go to the SEC tomorrow. Mom. Forrest stands, swaying slightly. You can't. I said, be quiet. For the first time, Thea's mask cracks. In that moment, I see what Palmer warned me about. Something dangerous and desperate behind her perfect facade. I stand slowly, moving toward the painting. Before I answer, I have a question. What was your first husband's name? The one who died so conveniently? The color drains from her face. Behind the painting, I feel it, a slight bulge in the wallpaper. Don't. Her voice shakes, but I'm already pulling the painting aside, finding the small wall safe behind it. Interesting place for a hidden safe. What's inside? Insurance papers, evidence. Lucille. Forrest's voice is strangled. What are you doing? Showing your mother I'm not the only one with secrets. I turn to Thea. Palmer told me about the combination. Your first wedding date. Should I try it? She moves faster than I expect, grabbing my arm. Her nails dig into the same spot Graham bruised earlier. You have no idea what you're playing with. Neither do you. I wrench free. Think I didn't make copies of everything Palmer gave me. One phone call, and it all goes public. The money laundering, the insurance fraud, maybe even a decades-old murder. You wouldn't dare. But fear has replaced the confidence in her eyes. Try me. I move toward the door, my heart thundering. Keep your proposition. And remember, I'm not the naive girl you can bully anymore. Lucille, wait. Forrest steps toward me, but stops when I raise my hand. Choose carefully whose side you're on, I tell him. Things are about to get very uncomfortable for this family. Outside, the rain has stopped. My phone shows 3 messages from Ivy, but it's Palmer's that makes my blood freeze. Graham found my copies. They're coming for you next. I start my car, hands shaking. I've just declared war on one of the city's most powerful families. But as I drive away from the estate, I realize there's no turning back now. The safe's contents will have to wait. Right now, I need to survive the night. The boardroom clock ticks like a countdown as I stare at the contract in front of me. Thea sits across the mahogany expanse, immaculate as always, but there's a new tension in her shoulders. We both know what's at stake. It's a generous offer, she says, sliding an elegant pen toward me. Full immunity for you and Ivy. A clean break from the company. More money than your mother's shop ever made. My throat tightens at the deliberate mention of Mom. Through the wall-length windows, the city sprawls below us, oblivious to the war being waged in this sterile room. And all I have to do is sign away everything I've built. I trace the contract's edge, pretend I never found the evidence, walk away alive, she corrects softly. Palmer's disappearance should tell you how serious this is. Ice slides down my spine. Palmer hasn't answered calls or texts for 2 days. His apartment was empty when Ivy checked this morning. Where is he? Safe. For now. Thea adjusts her pearls. A tell I've learned means she's lying. But his future, like yours, depends on the next few minutes. My phone buzzes. Ivy. Don't sign anything. Found the smoking gun. Coming up now. Think of Forrest. Thea continues, mistaking my hesitation for weakness. This could destroy him. Is revenge worth losing your marriage? My marriage. I laugh bitterly. You destroyed that the moment you decided I wasn't good enough for your precious family. No, dear. Her smile turns predatory. You destroyed it when you chose Palmer over loyalty. When you started digging into things better left buried. The boardroom door opens. Graham enters, followed by two men in dark suits. My heart stutters as I recognize them. The same insurance investigators who ruled Mom's fire an accident. Time's up, Graham announces. What's it going to be, Lucille? I reach for the pen, watching hope bloom in Thea's eyes. The same hope I saw when I first married Forrest. When she thought she could mold me into her perfect society daughter. The door bursts open again. Ivy rushes in, clutching a laptop, with Forrest close behind. His face is ashen. Don't, he says. Lucille, don't sign. I found the real files. Thea stands so quickly, her chair slams back. Forrest, you're drunk. Go home. I'm sober for the first time in years. His voice shakes. I found Dad's old records. About the first merger. About what really happened to Thea's first husband. Careful, little brother, Graham warns. But there's fear beneath the threat. Ivy sets her laptop on the table, turning it toward me. The insurance payout from my mom's shop, I say, scanning the documents. It didn't go to Adams Industries. It went to a private account. Your account, Thea. You needed motivation, she snaps, to understand your place, to appreciate what marrying into this family meant. By burning down everything I loved, my voice cracks. By killing my mother, she was holding you back. Thea's composure finally shatters, just like Richard held me back, with his morals and his questions about the company's finances. Sometimes sacrifices must be made for the greater good. The room goes silent. Even Graham looks shocked at her admission. Richard, I say slowly, your first husband, the one who died in a house fire. Forrest makes a strangled sound. Mom, what did you do? What I had to. She straightens, mask sliding back into place. What I'll do again if necessary. Sign the contract, Lucille. End this now. I pick up the pen, feeling its weight. Everything I've worked for, everything I've discovered, balanced on this moment. You're right, I tell her. This ends now. Instead of signing, I pull out my phone and press play. Thea's voice fills the room. Sometimes sacrifices must be made. That's being live-streamed to the SEC, Ivy says calmly, along with all the evidence we've gathered. Every transaction, every cover-up, every murder. Graham lunges for the laptop, but Forrest blocks him. For once, the younger brother stands his ground. It's over, Mom, he says quietly. Thea's face contorts with fury. You stupid girl, you have no idea what you've done. I know exactly what I've done. I stand, gathering my things. I've burned down everything you love, just like you taught me. The elevator doors are closing. When I hear the commotion start, raised voices, running feet, the beginning of an empire's collapse. My phone lights up with a message from an unknown number. Well done. Meet me at the usual place. P. Palmer, alive. But can I trust him? After everything, can I trust anyone? The elevator descends, carrying me away from the wreckage. But somehow I know this isn't over. Thea's final words echo in my head. I have no idea what I've done. Maybe she's right, but I'm about to find out. The charity gala glitters around me like broken glass. Beautiful, dangerous, sharp enough to draw blood. From my position near the grand staircase, I watch Thea work the crowd. Even with her world crumbling, she plays the gracious hostess perfectly. Only I notice how her hands shake when she lifts her champagne. Security's in position, Ivy murmurs through my earpiece. Palmer's signal coming from the third-floor study. I adjust my evening gown, midnight blue, like the one Mom wore to my wedding. Any sign of Graham? Not yet, but Forrest just arrived. He looks determined. My heart twists. After the boardroom revelation, he'd disappeared for 3 days. His last text still burns in my mind. I need to make this right. I start up the stairs, nodding to familiar faces. They smile back, unaware that in 15 minutes, federal agents will swarm this building, unaware that their carefully curated society is about to implode. The third floor is darker, quieter. Classical music drifts up from below as I approach the study. The door is ajar, lamplight spilling into the hallway. Palmer sits at the massive desk, looking remarkably alive for a supposedly missing person. "Right on time," he says, without looking up. "Close the door." I do, noting the fresh bruises on his face. "You're working with them. Smart girl." He finally meets my eyes. "Had to make a choice when Graham found me. Die for your revenge, or live for something bigger." "Bigger?" My laugh sounds hollow. "Like what?" "Like taking down not just the Addams family, but everyone they protect." He turns the laptop toward me. "Their network runs deeper than you know. Judges, politicians, police chiefs. And you're helping them cover it up." "I'm helping them think they're covering it up." His smile is razor sharp. "While actually gathering evidence against everyone involved. The FBI has been building this case for years." The floor seems to tilt beneath my feet. "You're an informant. Since before you married Forrest. Why do you think I helped you? Your mother's shop wasn't the first business they burned down. Just the latest in a long pattern." Footsteps in the hallway make us both freeze. The door opens, revealing Thea. She's still smiling, but her eyes are wild. "I should have known," she says, closing the door behind her. The prodigal son returns, and with such perfect timing. More footsteps. Graham appears from the connecting room, gun steady in his hand. "Found these in Palmer's briefcase," he says, tossing a stack of files onto the desk. "Seems our friend's been very busy." "It's over, Thea," Palmer says calmly. "Federal agents are currently being detained by private security." Her smile widens. "Did you really think I wouldn't have contingencies? That I haven't survived worse threats than you?" "Mom." Forrest's voice makes us all turn. He stands in the doorway, face pale but resolute. "Drop the act. I sent them everything." "Everything?" she whispers. "Dad's real cause of death, Richard's insurance papers, the offshore accounts." He steps into the room. "I found your private files. The ones you kept in the lake house safe." Graham's gun wavers. "What files?" "Ask her," Forrest says. "Ask her what really happened to Dad when he threatened to expose the corruption." The moment stretches like a wire about to snap. I see it in Thea's eyes. The realization that her perfect world is finally irrevocably shattering. "You ungrateful." She lunges for Graham's gun. Everything happens at once. The gun goes off, shattering a window. Palmer tackles Graham. Forrest grabs his mother. And I see my chance. I grab the files, sprinting for the door. Behind me, Thea breaks free, screaming my name. But I'm already running down the stairs, through the startled crowd, the evidence clutched to my chest like a lifeline. Ivy meets me at the bottom, already dialing. "FBI's 2 minutes out. Local police are... Look out!" Thea reaches me just as I hit the main floor. Her fingers tangle in my hair, pulling me back. We struggle in front of everyone. The perfect society matron, finally showing her true face. "I made you," she hisses in my ear. "I could have destroyed you." "No," I gasp, breaking free. "You tried to destroy me, but you forgot something." "What's that?" I straighten, facing her in front of her carefully cultivated audience. "I'm my mother's daughter. And she taught me that flowers grow back stronger after a fire." The doors burst open. Federal agents flood in, weapons drawn. Graham and Palmer stumble down the stairs, both bloody. Forrest follows, carrying his father's private ledger. As they lead Thea away in handcuffs, she keeps her head high, but her perfect mask has cracked, revealing the darkness beneath. Forrest touches my shoulder gently. "I'm sorry," he whispers, "for everything." I watch Thea disappear into a federal vehicle, remembering the gold digger card that started it all. So am I. The night air carries the scent of rain and justice. And somewhere, I swear I can smell Mom's roses blooming again. Sunrise paints the city gold as I unlock the doors of my new office building. The brass nameplate catches the light. Nichols and Bradley Consulting. No more Adam's name casting shadows over everything we've built. "You're here early," Ivy says, appearing behind me with coffee and a stack of newspapers. The headlines scream about the Adams family's downfall. each more sensational than the last. Couldn't sleep? I take my coffee, breathing in the familiar scent. Keep thinking about what Thea said at her sentencing. You mean the part where she blamed you for destroying her legacy? Ivy snorts. Or the part where she swore she'd rebuild everything from prison? The part where she said I was just like her. I lead the way to our top-floor office, where floor-to-ceiling windows offer a view of the city awakening. Ruthless, willing to burn it all down. Hey, Ivy grabs my arm. You're nothing like her. She destroyed lives for power. You exposed the truth for justice. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. Forrest's name makes my heart stutter, but I answer anyway. I'm at the shop, he says, without preamble. Mom's old accountant called. Said there's something I need to see. I close my eyes. The shop, my mother's flower shop. The lot has stood empty since the fire, a grave for dead dreams. I'll be there in 20. Ivy squeezes my shoulder as I gather my things. Want backup? No. I manage a smile. Some ghosts I need to face alone. The lot looks smaller than I remember. Forrest stands by his car, holding a weathered leather portfolio. He's lost weight since the trial, but his eyes are clearer than they've been in years. The accountant found this in an old storage unit, he says, handing me the portfolio. You should see for yourself. Inside are property deeds, insurance papers, and photographs. My hands shake as I recognize my mother's handwriting on a letter dated just before the fire. My dearest Lucy, I read aloud. If you're reading this, then my suspicions about Thea Adams were correct. I've gathered evidence of their illegal dealings for months. The fire wasn't an accident. It was a warning. But I made copies of everything. Check the rose bushes by the back fence. I love you. Never let them make you doubt your worth. There's more, Forrest says quietly. The accountant says she was working with federal investigators. She was building a case against my family when your mother had her killed. The words taste like ashes. I'm so sorry, Lucille. His voice cracks. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm selling everything. The house, the company holdings, all of it. Using the money to set up a foundation in your mother's name. I trace my mother's signature, feeling the indentations her pen left in the paper. She knew. She was fighting back all along. Like mother, like daughter. He attempts a smile. The rose bushes survived, you know. They're still there, growing through the concrete. I walk to the back of the lot, where, sure enough, wild roses push through cracks in the pavement. Their scent fills the air. Mom's favorite variety, the ones she said were too stubborn to die. Kneeling, I dig carefully around the largest bush. My fingers hit something solid, a rusted metal box. Inside, perfectly preserved, are more documents, more evidence, more truth. She didn't just leave me her fight, I realize standing. She left me her strength. What will you do with it? I think of Thea in her prison cell, of Graham facing federal charges, of all the corrupt networks still hiding in plain sight. I'm going to finish what she started. I pull out my phone, dialing Palmer's number at the FBI task force. But this time, we're doing it right. No more shadows, no more secrets. We? Forrest asks. Me and Ivy. The foundation, if you're serious about it. Anyone else who's tired of powerful people burning down dreams. He nods slowly. Count me in. It's time I grew my own roses instead of poisoning everyone else's. Back at the office, Ivy's already working on expansion plans. Ready to build something new? She asks. I place my mother's box on the desk, next to the gold digger card I kept as a reminder. No, I say, tearing the card in half, ready to rebuild something that never should have been destroyed. Through the windows, the morning sun illuminates the city, like truth breaking through lies. Somewhere out there, Thea sits in her cell, plotting her revenge. Let her try. She taught me how to burn things down, but my mother taught me something better. She taught me how to rise from the ashes.